Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. How's it going? Aren't children wonderful? Oh, man. Just kidding. Of course they are. However, sometimes dad has to be dad, and that's not always the most fun thing in the world when the kids are being unruly. Just a second. Oh boy. So anyway, we are back. We are back today after a long day in the Theodore Edgecombe trial. I'm enjoying this trial, but I am anxious for it to end. I'm very anxious for this trial to end. At this point, it's going on a while now, and it's just time. Eventually, it's just time for a trial to end. All good things. And this is one of those things. So today we saw the testimony of Mr. Edgecombe. After his testimony, I'm more and more convinced that he is guilty, that this was not a self-defense shooting. Doesn't look like a self-defense shooting to me at all anymore. His answers were rehearsed. His answers were attempting to check boxes, but also being evasive at the same time. Didn't come across as natural to me, didn't come across as honest. And other people are free to come to different conclusions. And I've seen a whole bunch of people comment that, I don't understand the jury and all this stuff. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm not purporting to understand the jury. I don't. I know I don't understand the jury. I don't know who's on it. So I'm not sure how I can presume to understand that which I don't know in the first place. I'm just telling you what I think based on my thoughts and the law, of course. What a jury thinks. I mean, there are cases where you panel 3 juries, you get 3 different results. So who knows who they've got? I'm sure they've got somebody super woke. I'm sure if they here's how it goes, right? I'm sure if he is found guilty, they didn't have anybody woke on the jury, and I'm sure if he's found not guilty or a mistrial, they had just enough woke people to convince the non-woke people that this is all based on race or whatever. So there you go. It's a self-authenticating conclusion, and I'm fine with that. So who knows? Who knows? All right. That's fine. I don't really care on that aspect. To me, dude looks guilty. The other thing that is guilty is the defense team in that case is guilty of wasting the entire Earth's time with the majority of the case. That is true. There is no jury in the world who would not convict them of wasting everybody's time with how they've handled everything. So that, they're awful. And you know what? Dr. John Black was woefully unimpressive again today. Carol Depp says Nick's fine with cold-blooded murder. I said the guy did it. I think he's guilty. I don't understand. Carol, help me. I don't know. What do you mean? Oh my goodness. Ryan, the other Nick is a bully who doesn't do his part for the group presentation. I haven't even seen anything. What did you send? What now? All right. So that's good. That's good. There's a new video from the editor to put up. So that'll be fun. I'll get that hopefully scheduled to go up sometime tomorrow. Whew, scheduling these videos when the trials are on is difficult, but that's okay. We'll get it done. We'll get it done. What else is there? I don't know that there's much more to talk about in Edgecombe today. The judge in this case has been steadfast. He's been a consistent source of comedy, and he's been refreshing. He's consistent, and that's one of the things I talk about that you can ask for in a judge. You know how they're going to act, and that is important. That's actually one of the most important things. How is this judge going to treat me on the average day? And this judge is pretty consistent with it. Don't waste his time. Don't waste the court's time. Don't make bad legal arguments, and you'll be fine. And that seems to be the case. But that's just based on this one trial. I mean, maybe he's terrible everywhere else. I don't know. But I'd like to see more cases with him running them. Seems like a good judge. With that said, let's grab some super chats. Today we're going to talk. I only picked one topic. There are other topics that we might look at, but there's one topic that I really want to kind of focus on, and we may delve back into the Edgecombe stuff from a different perspective. We may take a peek at how the news is framing this story. All right. We may take a peek at how the news is framing the story. And you guys who've been watching along, that could be really interesting, you know, how they see it. And because we've talked a little bit about the attorneys making arguments for the narrative, whether or not that's true, I don't know. As far as other things on the channel, I have not received anything back from Law and Crime. Yeah, I've not received anything back from Law and Crime. Very interesting. Of course, yeah, let's see. Yesterday was their deadline for me to respond. I did in plenty, actually much sooner than that. And I don't know when or if we'll ever hear from them again. Who knows? Who cares? That's, I don't know what else to do about that. But we'll see. All right, there was also an update on the Law and Crime situation from the other angle. I talked to my YouTube partner and told them there may be, you know, some copyright strikes coming from Law and Crime, and just to warn them about what it was. And they, you know, thanked me for the heads up, but they did note this blows my mind, man. This blows my mind. So I tell them, hey, by the way, I got Law and Crime threatening this stuff. It's completely bogus. I'm not violating any terms. I'm not violating copyright. They don't even own the stuff. My lawyer's working with it, and everything's fine. They're like, okay, well, you know, you handle that with the if they come in, you know, you make your review, you counter notify on all the strikes or whatever. Okay, fine. So great. Then they follow up, and this is where it's just wonderful. But members of your community may have been going over, and this is amazing because I don't remember mentioning anything like this. But members of my community may be going over and spamming the comments of law and crime, and that could potentially lead to a harassment infringement on the community guidelines. And it didn't strike me until after I had replied that, wait a minute, how would this be a thing that you know about? How would this be a thing that you know about? Because I didn't mention that. I didn't send the cease and desist letter. So how would this be a thing that you know about? Of course, I replied, yeah, I don't actually encourage that in any way. And when people bring it up, I specifically discourage that. So like I would trust, YouTube would not do anything without some sort of proof that I had actually intended people to do that, which I don't. And I said, as far back as this channel goes, I've never asked people to go do anything like that ever. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in doing things that way. But I can't control people on the internet, and it shouldn't be my job to do that at the same time. People will do what they do. It doesn't matter what internet man says. But I've never encouraged that at all. But it occurred to me later, how'd you even know about this? So there must be some complaint going on. And I will be following up on that with, how would you know this? How would this be a thing? But yeah, so I will state it again officially for the record, as I do every single time. Please do not go bother law and crime. There is nothing of value there in the first place. And so there is nothing to go do over there. I do not, I don't condone any harassing behavior. I don't know how you harass a multi-million dollar network. But however you do or whatever, I don't condone it. Again, I think their broadcasting of trials is a service, a public service. I think it's a good thing, but I don't think I clearly don't believe that they're in it for the public service aspect of it anymore. And so they can get fucked. I mean, I don't care about them. I'm going to stop saying that they're a good public service at this point. They have no interest in bringing trials to the public, it seems. But gosh, I'm so damn thirsty. All right. I'm getting back into taking my allergy meds, and they dry you out. They dry you out a ton. Yes. Someone says, here's my pill, by the way. It's this Aller Ease. Very, very lovely. It's fexofenadine hydrochloride. I take a different allergy medication in the morning, and then I have a third allergy medication, famotidine tablets, that I also have to take right before bed. So fun. The fun times of having a severe heat allergy. Hey. So anyway, long story short, I'm supposed to control you like a wizard, tell you not to go to law and crime. Don't do it. The funny thing is I don't think anybody in this equation realizes that when you tell people not to do something, um, it makes people who otherwise probably weren't going to do anything go do stuff, and I don't know how to navigate that. Like it's impossible. It's an impossible position. So I'll just say it this way: law and crime are fucking babies, and they can eat shit for all I care. What I'm doing is fair use, and they know it, and they don't even own the content anyway. So fuck them. Victor Phantasm says, I took some screenshot of YouTube messing with your view count. Also got a new flash, gets 40K in DMs. Very cool, Victor. Thank you. YouTube isn't, don't want to frame it that way. YouTube isn't messing with my view count. It's a persistent problem. It's not limited to my stream. But yeah, it's an issue that's been going on for about a week now. Me and some other streams I've seen it on. Not applicable says need to stop rehabbing AJ nonstop nuisance for our ideas. Wait, what? Need to stop rehabbing Alex Jones nonstop nuisance for our ideas. Okay, I don't know what that means at all. Alex Jones, what we're going to talk about today is he went before Congress, the September 5th committee, and he pled the Fifth Amendment a whole bunch. And there's some very retarded thought about what the Fifth Amendment is. Play the 40K video. It's Flash gets his video. No, guys, there's just a second. Internet is slow. Are we going to get some good internet speeds here at some point? Oh, there we go. Oh my gosh. What the hell? All right. So Alex Jones, anyway, he was on the I haven't watched it. Maybe we'll just watch his testimony. That'd be interesting. Before the January 6th committee pleads the Fifth Amendment a whole lot. And of course, people are immediately out there saying stuff like, oh, that means he's automatically guilty, which it's not. It does not mean he's guilty at all. It does not mean anything of the sort. And the public implication that taking the fifth is akin to guilt is something that both sides are guilty of building. Taking the fifth does not mean anything about guilt. What it is a middle finger to the person asking the question, as it should be. As it should be. Would really fucking love it if the internet would work today. That'd be great. Can we get some damn internet working? I can see the shitty connection. I'm staring angrily at the icon. Fix! Go back to normal. Thank you. Jeez. Fucking shit. Why isn't everything easy? You need internet with better upload speeds. Thank you. Thank you. Why don't you upload yourself into a fucking meat grinder? How about that? How about that? Oh, God. Still bad. If it stays bad, maybe I'll just turn off the show for the night because I'm in a bad fucking mood already. How lovely. How great. It's just hovering down there at a weak connection. Don't know why. Don't know what's up with that. Let's see. See what happens if I do this. Da, 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 da. That upload rate is struggling at 17 megasecond, which is low, but it's plenty for this shitty video that we're uploading. I mean, this isn't tough. Here, I'll show you guys. We'll do it again. We'll do it. We'll do it live. Share screen. Here, have a speed test. Here we go. Gah. That's slow for my download, actually. It should be around 900 something. So who knows? Look at this. Oh, there. 10, 10, 9, 10. It's supposed to be 40. That's fine. That's pretty much the same. 40 and 9.8 are almost identical. Fucking hell. But the reality is you need about a 6 meg connection to do the upload, to do this video anyway. Get Starlink. Oh God, fucking. Get this, get that. Guys, you can get whatever you want. If the internet is having issues, the internet's having issues. There's nothing you can do about it. Oh. Oh, I'm going to run out of Gatorade and start just drinking straight liquor. All right. Okay. Back to it. Let's see. El Gonzo 1000 says late and hetero flexible. Rael says, can a game company deny me access if I ask to see what comment got me struck? Yep. Also, if I proceed legally, would it be Freedom of Information Act or subpoena to force them? Freedom of Information Act only applies to government offices. So it would be a subpoena to produce the document. But can a company deny you access to the comments that you put on their platform? Yeah, of course. Of course they can. They can do whatever they want. Great. Companies can do anything. And the government is happy with that. And the arrangement is now a symbiotic assumption that the companies will do what the government wants without the government even asking. So it's done. Dan Ross, VPN is not on. Stop it. Stop. Literally nobody knows what's going on with the internet. It's your help is appreciated. It can go in the garbage can. Gerdoyle, your internet service provider is important. Yeah, it. Oh my God. Look, it doesn't matter what internet service provider you buy. If that internet service provider is having issues, there's nothing you can do about it. What the fuck are you talking about? I could get on the phone right now and scream at Spectrum and be like, you fucking autisms, why don't you make your goddamn internet work? And it won't suddenly make it better. It won't do anything. There's nothing better that's going to happen if I scream at them right now. And if I change to a different provider, it will be as bad, if not worse, because they're the fastest connection around. There's supposed to be a 40 meg upload. That's just the way it's supposed to be, but it's not going to work if they're not able to deliver the service at the time that I'm doing a show. And that's the way of internet. There's nothing you can do about it. I've screamed at Spectrum plenty of times, but again, they're the only provider with anything even approaching a reasonable upload speed in the entire area. So, but please tell me more about the internet service that I can definitely get at my house, that I haven't called literally every fucking provider on the planet and said, I will pay you infinite money, put a fiber line to my house, and no one will do it. Listen, guys, this is my business, which I dump money into for the sole purpose of trying to get around these little issues. And there are some that are just limited by the fact that I live in the rural area and I'm not going to move away. So, but yes, again, you don't live here. You don't know what service is available at this address. I have checked. Ugh. Ham and Bean says, if I am called before Congress, God damn, this video quality is so fucking good. We're probably going to have a really short show tonight. We'll just put that out there. If I am called before Congress in my opening statement, can I say I will be asserting my Fifth Amendment right on every question by saying, I will say, fuck you, next question? No, you have to actually positively assert your Fifth Amendment right. If you said the other one, you could be held in contempt. And being held in contempt is not fun. Michael Payne says, just a little red pen from the Friday stream on Russell Greer. The ranch is outside Reno, not Vegas. The closest one to Reno is 30 minutes. Closest one to Vegas is 1.5 hours. It is legal in counties under 40,000 population. Good Rat says, saw Count Dankula talking about this and immediately wanted you to do a show about the Fifth, so thank you. Also, Uncivil did a show about you and law and crime tonight, and the intro was hilarious, so everyone check it out. Very, very cool. Uncivil being a bro. I will check it out for sure a little bit later. But I'm not going to play Uncivil's video on the stream. People should go check it out. Go give him the view. Have you tried resetting your router or modem? Yes. Yep. Woo. Frederick Little says, what's the next major case you'll cover after Edgecombe? The case of me getting some sleep. Me getting some goddamn sleep. That's the case. That's the case. Might cover that one tonight in just a minute. Patrick Allen says, Crime Talk got hit with same nonsense a few years ago per his stream today. Wait, from Law and Crime? People were going after Crime Talk? Is that what I hear? Was it Law? Oh, fuck. Now what do I... Now I want to know what happened there. Oh, yeah, they did. They did. They went after Scott. Well, I'll maybe Scott would like to pop on and talk about that tomorrow with me. I'll have to send him a thing and see. I'll invite him to the panel. I like him anyway. He's an interesting guy. Let's see. Here we go. The best show in the universe says you might not need to follow up on that. Last week, there was a streamer drama where someone sent people to Pokemon's chat that your partner may be referring to. No, I'm going to follow up on it anyway. Because again, I think my partner manager was trying to be proactively helpful, but if they're hearing this nonsense about my people going over to Law and Crime when I didn't bring that up, that to me that means someone may have brought it up. But I again, it's amazing to me these companies that are building the modern internet, companies like YouTube and Twitter, don't understand how this stuff works. If you go on Twitter and you shit on someone with 1 million followers, right? There's a good chance that some percentage And it doesn't have to be many of those million followers will shit back. That's just how it goes. So if you go after someone, there's a non-zero chance that some percentage of their audience will come back. And the bigger the target, the bigger the response. It's just math. And they should know this. And there doesn't mean incitement or instigation. And by the way, a lot of times the smaller channel wants that traffic. They want that. They're inviting it. They're not getting bullied. They're getting boosted. They're getting exposed to people they would have never ever seen them before. So it's just a ludicrous assertion that that's going on. Whatever. Porcupine Mayhem says drink because why not? So am I. It is going to be -20 by tomorrow morning, so I'm showing up late to work. Yeah, it's already fucking cold here. What temp is it outside? What temp is it? It is 11:40. What time? -18. -18 where I live. So that's great. Beautiful, wonderful weather. I strongly recommend coming here and sleeping outside naked. If you're part of the homeowners association board, I live in the middle of nowhere. No, I'm not on a homeowners association board. It'd be like the gathering of the Ents to get people together for a homeowners association out here. They have to come from a very long way, right? Like, what? Oh my God. Ah! Oh, can someone drain a pool so I can dive into it and end this misery? Question mark says, in the OSHA SCOTUS case, did anyone argue that OSHA is the sole agency tasked with protecting whistleblowers, which is now forever tarnished? No. Also, check down detector. YouTube is spiking. No, there's. I don't know what OSHA being in charge of whistleblowers has anything to do with OSHA's COVID mandate that got struck down anyway. No one argued that because it's not relevant to the question. Unless they said we won't protect a whistleblower if they're not wearing a mask or giving a vaccine. I don't know. No one made that argument. Adam, Nick Ricada, for your crimes against reasonable nose sizes, the God sentenced you to suboptimal internet speeds. Seems to be a problem. Seems to be a problem today. Brent Max says it's 5G rollout turning the frogs gay, the agenda. And Mike the Dad Crosby says, as a homeowner, Nick is the board. Yes. I'm an association of one. I don't want to associate with anyone else. So that's true. That's true. Okay. I'm a FedGov that denied the mandate. A lot of my peers that felt compelled are pissed if the injunction remains. Well, they made their choice. They made their choice. They should have fought instead of making the choice if that's what they wanted. Oh boy. Okay. Let's find this. Let's do it. Let's do this Alex Jones thing. I'm sure it won't be awful trying to watch something on I'm sure that'll be fine. Whoops. Do we even have coverage of it today? Is anything going to work? Okay. Alex Jones says he pleaded the fifth almost 100 times to the 1-6 panel. Wait, do we not actually have video of that? Is there not video of him sitting down in front of the panel? Oh my God. Somebody just shoot me. Oh, well, here we go. We'll go straight. Let's go to the trusted source. I have a trusted source on this. Here we go. This is behind closed doors. Of course it was. The January 6th committee, very, very important, top secret national security restrictions. So we don't have, we don't have it on video. That would be insane. Well, let's check out this news report on it anyway. It's straight from the source. Look, if you can't trust some asshole that looks like this, who can you trust? Who? I don't even know. I don't know what trust looks like anymore if I can't trust that playground prowler.
From New York, I'm Chris Hayes. There's now a trial set. There's going to be a trial in the government's case against the far-right extremist gang known as the Oath Keepers.
The far-right extremist gang known as the Oath Keepers. By the way, fuck them too. Fuck everybody. It's all ridiculous, but come on. Oh my God.
Stemming from the group's involvement in plotting the January 6th insurrection. Today, 18 members of the Oath Keepers were in virtual court. Some of them are just charged with regular old criminal conspiracy.
What? Who talks like this?
Conspiracy for their involvement in the attack on the Capitol. Their trial date is set for April, just 3 months from now. Other groups, including the group's founder, Elmer Stewart Rhodes III, will face...
Well, if that's not a serial killer's mugshot, I don't know what is.
Trial in July for the separate, more serious charge of seditious conspiracy. And that's an important distinction. Seditious conspiracy is a rarely used statute, basically only ever leveled at extremist groups who are trying to overthrow the government. I'll read the relevant section. According to the criminal code, quote, if two or more persons...
Here we go. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's do this in real time. I don't know how to do the show tonight. I'm going to just make it up as I go along. And by making it up as I go along, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type westlaw.com into my browser window. And then if my internet ever catches up, I'm going to click on Westlaw and sign into it. Here we go. Start a new session. We got to just change some parameters here. Let's see, can we get this? Oh my God. Let's see, change this from Minnesota, and we're going to go just straight to the federal. Save. And we're going to go 18 USC 2384. Let's see, 2384, and I'll hit enter. We'll search for this. We'll pull up this law, and then we're going to do, there's 70 decisions on this. Okay. So what's the law say? If two or more persons in any state or territory or in any place subject to the jurisdiction of the United States conspire to overthrow, put down, or to destroy by force the government of the United States, or to levy war against them, or to oppose by force the authority thereof, or by force to prevent, hinder, or delay the execution of any law of the United States, or by force to seize, take, or possess any property of the United States, contrary to the authority thereof, they shall each be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both. So, here we go. Let's see. Constitutionality, seditious conspiracy did not on its face violate the First Amendment inasmuch as it proscribes speech only when it constituted an agreement to use force against the U.S. What is this? 1955 case, prosecution of members of political organization for conspiring to overthrow United States government by force, to oppose by force, did not violate their right of political expression. Okay, so conspiracy, elements of offense. So elements of offense of conspiracy to levy war against the United States are conspiracy to overthrow, put down, or to destroy by force the government of the U.S. or to levy war against them, or oppose by force the authority thereof, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's the two-part test. Very, very helpful. Well, let's see what Chris Hayes says here about it.
Conspire to overthrow, put down, or to destroy by force the government of the United States, or by force to prevent, hinder, or delay the execution of any law of the United States. And just on the face of it, that does seem to be exactly what happened here. A heavily armed right-wing group plotted to storm the Capitol on January 6th.
Wait, I'm sorry. I missed something. Was there a heavily armed right-wing group storming the Capitol on January 6th? Did I not get the memo? Did I miss when that happened? So don't remember that part. I don't know. Okay. I don't get it. Let's see. I'm looking now. I'm reading the preventing of execution of any law to see if there's any case law even close to what's happened. Here you go. This is from a while back. A conspiracy or agreement of two or more persons to drive the Chinese out of the United States or to maltreat or intimidate them with a view of constraining them to depart therefrom was prima facie a conspiracy to prevent and hinder the execution, operation, or fulfillment of the law of the United States, namely the treaties of China of 1868 and 1880, and was an indictable offense. So if you were opposed to the Chinamen in 1886, that was conspiracy to overthrow the government. Like, we're going to get, there are too many damn lo mein fried rice, kung pao chicken shops opening up here in 1880 land. We got to get the Chinese out. If that's you, boom. Conspiracy, sedition, seditious conspiracy. China had its hooks in the United States as far back as 1880. Okay, so there's nothing that says that what's going on here is a law, under the statute, but preventing an act of Congress kind of sounds like preventing a law. I don't know. Here we go.
In order to disrupt the peaceful transfer of power as outlined in the Electoral Count Act and the Constitution. And believe me, we could spend the entire hour just reading some of the details from these indictments.
I don't believe you can read for a straight hour. I think that would be a crime against humanity. And I hope the UN would step in and stop you. God, look at that fucking smug face.
Take, for instance, this guy. You may have seen him before, Thomas Caldwell. He was in charge of the so-called Quick Reaction Force. That's at least according to court documents by prosecutors.
The QUIRF.
whose purpose was to rapidly transport weapons into D.C. once the group had successfully taken control of the Capitol.
You see, what you want to do is you got to take control of the Capitol without the weapons first, and then rapidly transport the weapons in. This is how you go ahead. This is how you effectively take over the government. You do it without any weapons, and then only afterwards, once you've gone in and shit on Nancy Pelosi's desk or whatever, then you use your high-powered rail system that you created to ship weapons into the Capitol so you can maintain the hostile non-weapon takeover that you did. That's how it happened. God, I can't believe. How did this fail?
That's the same guy who Tucker Carlson puts on his show as just a poor old disabled veteran who was only in D.C. on January 6th to stand up.
Now it's Tucker Carlson's fault. These people are insane.
For his beloved country.
They claim that you plan to bring, quote, heavy weapons by boat across the Potomac River. Were you planning, what kind of heavy weapons do you think that refers to? Were you planning to do that?
I have no idea, and no, I was not, Tucker. Look, I was a Navy guy, okay? Now,
so that means I would bring boats. All right, Tucker? I'm going to bring boats to the Capitol. And we're going to get boats inside the White House. There's some big bathtubs in there. We're going to put a submarine in there, watch around on Joe. Oh, my God. Okay. If it's not clear from my tone and demeanor, YouTube censors, I'm not condoning or endorsing any violence. I think that there's a ridiculous hyperbole that is going on about what's happened. There's plenty of things that they could go ahead and charge people with without the hyperbolic rhetoric about an overthrow of the government.
right. Navy guys do know about water, but it's like aircraft carriers. We're talking about blue water Navy here. So this other stuff, I don't know anything about. Didn't have any role in planning any of it. It's just more hooey.
Now, maybe he's right. Maybe the whole thing is entirely fabricated and ludicrous. The seditious conspiracy.
I mean, the government's never done that to anybody. What are you talking about, Chris Hayes? I mean, the government has never made up charges against someone. I don't know what they're doing here. I don't know. That guy, of course, he's going to go on TV while he's got pending charges or potential charges and say, I have no idea what they're talking about. That doesn't mean shit. That doesn't mean he did or didn't do anything. But this idea that the government wouldn't make up some bullshit against someone is ludicrous. Of course they would. They do it all the time.
Conspiracy indictment does paint a very different picture, I should say. The indictment lays out how Caldwell booked a hotel room in Arlington that had
this will be good. So there's a hotel room. That's probably where the guns are coming. Let's see how he brought guns in. And this will be interesting.
Have quick access to DC. And that a fellow quick reaction force member, quote, said, we'll have goodies in case things go bad and we need to get heavy.
They're talking about zebra cakes. What do you mean? Have goodies, zebra cakes and Girl Scout cookies. Those are goodies in case you need to get heavy. Tell you what, you eat zebra cakes, Girl Scout cookies, a whole shitload, big pile of those things, you're going to get heavy. What are you talking? Learn the language here, Hayes. Oh, this means guns. Brother, have you ever seen any of these folks? Have you seen some of these jokers running around? These dudes are not little. These dudes have been hitting the Twinkies. The only curls they're doing at the gym are curls of the burgers right into their mouth. Come on now.
Going on to note, quote, Caldwell was asking contacts if they or anyone they knew could lend a boat so that we could have our quick response team with heavy weapons standing by, quickly load them and ferry them across the river to our waiting arms.
That one's a little bit harder to explain. You see, by weapons is what the mean is you got wear the Quaaludes. That's a little bit into our waiting arms. Who talks like this? You know what? Put him in prison for saying something so gay.
Caldwell pleaded not guilty today, as did Stuart Rhodes, the alleged brains behind this entire operation. Again, the indictment lays out how, after the election, he, quote, began encouraging members and affiliates of his organization to oppose by force the lawful transfer of presidential power. You can
How do you oppose by force the lawful transfer of presidential power? What was their actual planned action to oppose by force? What does that mean? How are they going to do it?
see there the sort of callback to the seditious conspiracy language. Also, how he and his allies, quote, began recruiting others to.
I mean, it was a callback to the seditious conspiracy language, but the callback was written by the guy writing the indictment. That wasn't a quote. He didn't send to his followers, I want you to resist by force the peaceful transfer of power. That's not what he wrote down. That's what the government characterized his speech and writings as. They may be right, but I mean, of course it calls back to the language. It's an indictment. They're trying to prove out the elements of the case in the indictment. That's part of how you have to write it.
Traveled to D.C. to participate in operations aimed at stopping the transfer of presidential power.
Again, that's how the drafter of the indictment wrote that phrase.
They coordinated travel across the country to enter Washington, D.C., equipped themselves with a variety of weapons, donned combat and tactical gear, and were prepared to answer Rhodes' call to take up arms at Rhodes' direction. And again, to be absolutely clear here, but those are all quotes from an indictment. Rhodes and Caldwell and their associates, they're all innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. But we should say this.
What should we say?
Rhodes did do a fair amount of this plotting in public. Take this November 10th, 2020 episode of conspiracy theorist Alex Jones' internet show.
Conspiracy theorist slander. What, dude? The hat. Why the hat? It doesn't look good. Stop it.
Where, in the middle of detailing a truly bananas theory about deep state pedophiles trying to sabotage Donald Trump,
Okay. It's bananas. All right. You have your bananas.
Rhodes just openly admitted he already had Oath Keepers stationed near D.C. to keep Trump in power.
We have men already stationed outside D.C. as a nuclear option in case they attempt to remove the president illegally. We will step in and stop it. So I've got good men on the ground already.
So, I I do look, I don't want to defend any of these weirdos. Look at this guy. Look at him. I've got men stationed outside DC right now. Okay, whatever, Turbo LARP. That's fine. But can we please pay attention to the words he specifically said? Because they're kind of important. This is an important word right in the middle of this that really fucking matters. I mean, it does. I'm sorry. Okay. Let me preface this very carefully and clearly. When you're going to punish people for speech, when you're going to do that, when you're going to suggest that the mere words of a person amount to evidence of a criminal act, then those words have to be highly, highly specific. They have to be non-protected by merit of what is said. And they cannot be ambiguous or anything like that. Listen to what he says. This is critical to the whole ordeal here. Listen to his words. And believe me, this guy, I don't care what happens. If this guy goes to prison forever, not Alex Jones. This is a beautiful bastion of masculinity and intelligence, and everybody should watch Alex Jones as a barometer for what could happen to anybody else. I mean, he is the frog that is in the boiling water going, wait, water's warm, but am I gay? That's where Alex Jones is. He's in the pot as they're turning up the heat, and he's the only frog who can actually detect the different temperatures of the water. All right. But that being said, the other guy, I don't care what happens to that guy. He's some weirdo with an eye patch. Fine. Great. But we got to be clear on what he is actually saying.
We have men already stationed outside D.C. as a nuclear option in case they attempt to remove the president illegally.
Illegally remove the president. I mean, okay. Again, I have no interest in defending or supporting any of these people. I don't particularly care. I think whatever January 6th was, I think it was a mistake and a bungle by the people who went into the Capitol building. I don't think they did favors for themselves or anybody else, and I think they gave a lot of ammunition to the political class, to the academic elites, to the news media to run roughshod over every single person right of Mao. I think that's the result. Now, whatever else you want to say about it, fine. That seems to have borne out, by the way. They've been pounding on this drum, and they'll keep pounding on this drum for the next year, maybe even the next 2 years after that.
We will step in and stop it. So I've got good men on the ground already. We've been did a lead recon there last week, and we're sorting out where we're going to be staging, and we'll be there. We'll be inside D.C. We'll also be on the outside of D.C. armed, prepared to go in if the president calls us out.
Oh my!
If the president calls us, which of course, no seeming indication that the president was ever going to call the Oath Keepers. They also cut that at 2 different places. So who knows what else was said? Look at that face. Again, you're at the playground. This guy comes up and slaps your kid's ass. What do?
God, he'd admit it. I mean, this was not some high-tech surveillance by the FBI. This wasn't some wiretap. Stuart Rose just went on Alex Jones's show and said, this is what we're going to do. And it sure sounds like, just in his own words, what he was going to do is seditious conspiracy right there.
No, it doesn't. No, see, in his own words, and he could be lying, by the way. He could absolutely be lying about this. He said, 1, if they try to remove the president illegally, and 2, he said, God damn it, I don't want to defend these people. Like, I really don't care. But for fuck's sake, he said, if the president calls us in, 2 things which didn't happen. Neither of those things occurred. Now, are there other seditious stuff? Maybe. I don't know. Again, I'd never even heard of the Oath Keepers until the other day. And from what I've seen of them, I mean, they're these guys walking around in bike helmets with beer guts. I don't.
Armed men stationed outside D.C. as a nuclear option to use force to try to disrupt the peaceful transfer of power.
No, the illegal. He said illegal. At least quote him, you fucking weirdo. You can make fun of him for anything else. I mean, the guy is probably going to go to prison. Just make fun of him for that. But man, if you're going to talk about him, just quote the words that he used. These guys, look, none of these people expected a peaceful transition of power. I talked to people about this. They talked to me and I was like, yeah, I don't know what you're expecting is going to happen. And they expected like the military to be involved. They were going to stop all this. They're going to do this. There's going to be some sort of coup attempt that was going to be undone by National Guardsmen stated. I mean, I talked who believed it. They bought the sauce, man. They're like, oh yeah, this is going to happen. Trust me. I got guys in the military telling me they're going to reinstall Trump. They're going to not deinstall Trump. All this stuff's going to, and I'm like, I mean, sounds kind of like a movie, but not really like reality. So I don't know if I buy it. These people believed this shit was going to happen. They believed that Trump would be removed due to unlawful uses of force and conspiracies from like Pelosi and other stuff. There were people out there who thought that was what was going to happen. Now, some of those people have realized that, yeah, okay, maybe that wasn't really going to happen. Other people think it was going to happen. It didn't, they didn't need to get around to it or whatever. They did it some other way. I don't know. It doesn't matter but people thought that. So the idea that these guys are out there just like, I don't know. I don't know. Where's the Alex Jones segment? Segment is entitled Alex Jones. We're 5 minutes into an 8-minute segment, and they've only shown 1 second of his show and nothing about the subject. Oh,
God. The peaceful transfer of power being getting rid of Donald Trump because he lost the election. And speaking
That's not what they want. That's not what they were talking about. They may have also believed it, but why couldn't you find that quote then?
Alex Jones, the guy who is on your screen there, the man to whom Rhodes admitted the plot amidst his peroration about the deep state pedophiles. Alex Jones had his own run-in with investigators just yesterday. In fact, Alex Jones sat down.
Alex Jones sat down. Stop being so excited, Hayes. Calm the fuck down.
For the bipartisan House committee investigating January 6th, and to be a fly on the wall. He pleaded the fifth nearly 100 times instead of answering questions.
Are you ready here? I don't know. I've never watched this segment of MSNBC in my life. I don't think I've ever watched Chris Hayes in my life. I have no idea what he's going to say next. Are you ready for it though?
He's not the first to plead the fifth, and he is absolutely within his constitutional rights to do just that. But then when he went on his internet show and blabbed about the whole thing to his followers.
Yes, that's called pleading the first. We do that by just talking, you weirdo. But let's see how he frames that real quick. Let's re-listen to the framing and then the justification. I love it.
Alex Jones had his own run-in with investigators just yesterday. In fact, Alex Jones sat down before the bipartisan House committee investigating January 6th, and to be a fly on the wall. He pleaded the fifth nearly 100 times instead of answering questions. He's not the first to plead the fifth, and he is absolutely within his constitutional rights to do just that. But then when he went on his internet show and blabbed about the whole thing to his followers.
You can't walk in to something like that with people like that. I don't know who these lawyers are running it. I don't know if they're good people or bad people.
They're bad people.
They came always polite and nice. But when you've got predators like Schiff back in the background, like a moray eel in the rocks ready to come out and eat you.
Look at that fucking desk. Alex Jones is rolling heavy.
Then there's no reason to even dignify it because it's not legitimate. That said, the questions were overall pretty reasonable, and I wanted to answer the questions. But at the same time, it's a good thing I didn't because I'm the type that tries to answer things correctly, even if I don't know all the answers, and they can then try to claim that that's perjury.
I mean, put that on the January 6th committee movie poster.
Oh, look, he's giving a measure of his penis. That's nice. I didn't even ask for that. But that's the same thing he put on his Grindr profile. That's weird. Put it on a January 6th. Yes, put it on the January 6th movie poster that these people are predators in the water that can't be trusted, that Americans would want to answer questions of their own government, but they so cannot trust their own government that they have to invoke the safeguard put in by the fucking founders as a protection against a tyrannical government. So Alex Jones says, I want to answer the questions. They were pretty straightforward, but basically, these people can't be trusted with my honesty. If I give it to them, they'll try and come after me with a perjury charge or something else. So the founders actually baked in a hedge against tyranny. It says you don't ever have to answer a government question. You don't have to do it. And so he's saying, you know, I want to do it. So yes, put it on the movie poster, Chris fucking Hayes, you retard. You don't even realize what you're saying. You're telling us to put on the movie poster that the government conducting the January 6 hearings is so distrustworthy that otherwise honest seeking Americans are wanting to invoke their Fifth Amendment right, put in as a hedge against tyranny because they kind of look like tyranny to them. It kind of looks like a setup. It kind of looks like the government fishing for criminality where they don't otherwise see criminality. Yeah, put it on the movie poster. Great logline. Tyrannical government holds hearings to trap citizens who want to tell the truth. Instead, they invoke the Fifth Amendment because they don't trust their own fucking government anymore. Yeah, put that right there. Great logline. Sell it. I'll go watch that movie all the time. You'll be sitting there jerking off your micro penis to your Grindr profile. Fuck you. God, I hate these people. I hate all these people. They're so awful and stupid. They're so dumb they don't even realize what they're saying.
Pretty reasonable, Alex Jones. So Jones admits the investigators were polite and that their questions were reasonable, but that he nonetheless refused to answer.
Oh my God. Do you not know how it works? Do you not know? You not understand? Hayes, you're in the most danger in the world when you go into the office and the cops are nice. That's I mean, when you go in and the cops are literally beating you and screaming in your face, I know you fucking did, you piece of shit. That you know the score then. But when they're nice, you don't know what the hell's happening.
Because he did not want to get charged with perjury. Now, Jones also shared much of what the committee asked him. We'll get to that shortly, and it's interesting. But he also went out of his way to add this little tidbit about his friend Stuart Rhodes.
I saw it all as LARPing. I mean, I didn't see the Oath Keepers as bad people, but
really? The fucking Teletubbies walking around in tactical vests and helmets. You saw that as LARPing, huh, Alex? Appreciate man he is. Appreciate man. By the way, and I'm not saying that in any derogatory way. I think Alex Jones is one of the funniest people on the planet. He's spot on. I saw it as LARPing. Everybody saw it as LARPing. The only people who don't see it as LARPing is the government. And Chris Hayes.
But I saw a lot of it as playing soldier in the backyard. Their mission was something I really agreed with for most of its operations. But if the indictment's true that they thought that they could foment and kickstart and detonate a rebellion at the Capitol that would then lead to a larger war, that is not something I knew about or something I support or something I want.
Oh, my goodness. Your Honor, I don't know. They were dressing up. We were palling around. I got an internet show. I got nootropics to sell.
Yes. Yes. Someone like Alex Jones does not want an armed overthrow of the United States. Chris Hayes, what are you talking about? What do you think he's going to be anointed king of the wasteland that follows? What do you think happens? What do you think happens to an Alex Jones in a war with the state? Do you think Alex Jones, even if he's completely detached and removed, do you think that there's not an accidental Predator drone strike on Alex Jones's house and studio? Just happens, Scully taking off with his airplane and having to ditch into the Hudson, and he ditches into the Hudson several thousand miles away in Austin, Texas, in Alex Jones's pool. Like, do you think that's not what happens? Of course that's what happens. He doesn't want that. He wants to sell his supplements. He wants to do his show. He wants to talk to people about history and ideas. If you don't understand like what Alex Jones is, like, just listen, go watch the Viva Barnes interview with Alex Jones. Like, you want to get a glimpse without all the pomp and bravado of just who this guy is in a pretty vulnerable interview. Like, go watch it. And you can learn a lot about this guy. And I mean, weigh for yourself what you think, of course. But this idea that Alex Jones would be the guy who wants the overthrow of the United States is crazy to me. People who have Alex Jones makes a very good living doing what he does. In an overthrow of the government, Alex Jones's living goes straight to hell, and all of his stuff and money becomes worthless. I don't know that that's high up on the fucking agenda here. But here's I don't know. I don't understand these people.
I don't know what's going on. Now, a certain amount of this is likely just Jones covering his own legal exposure, but I think it's worth asking why Jones platformed the head of Oath Keepers, Stuart Rhodes, and allowed him to articulate his plan to use armed members to potentially disrupt the peaceful transfer of power if he didn't think they were actually serious about doing just that.
Chris, you platform people because two things. One, you find what people have to say in general, not specific people, interesting. And two, because you think the audience might find what people have to say interesting. That's it. It's the reason you platform them. Does Alex Jones know that these guys are going to get on there and talk about the sedition? I don't know. I have no idea what kind of show prep Alex Jones does with guests. I know when I'm interviewing guests, I don't pre-screen their answers and ideas and topics. That's not how I do things. It may be how Alex Jones does things or how you do things. I have no idea. No idea. I know I do them wrong. Okay. I got that. I understand that I do everything wrong according to how the media does stuff. And maybe that's why I as just some loudmouth getting to be a fatso in Minnesota can attract a crowd of people to watch, like some pitchman on the fucking Atlantic City boardwalk or something. I'm like, come here, come on, I got to show you something, right? Like, maybe that's why I'm able to do it, is because I don't do things right. I don't, I know that these guys probably know exactly what their guests are going to talk about. I don't know about Alex. I have no idea. But you find people and their stories interesting. The other thing, Chris Hayes, this is kind of important. They said they were there to stop the illegal, not peaceful transfer, that they were there to step in if an illegal transfer occurred. Because remember, these people were already anticipating violence from the government, from factions within the government. They expected a military coup. Now, you can call them crazy and stupid, and you can berate them and do all sorts of things to discount and discredit their ideas, their persons, their people. I don't care. What, that's fine. And you could, but them being wrong doesn't mean that they didn't believe it. And you don't get to then pin some other thing on them. Wait, didn't he say that Alex Jones is going to talk about the questions that they asked him specifically? They just forget that segment. You just went ahead and forgot to do that segment of the show that you promised to do. Eight minutes of that shit. And nothing from Alex Jones about the questions. Well, while we're at it, let's check one more thing.
There are some facts.
Let's check one more thing. Let's see if, I don't know, maybe this person's, my internet is better. Oh, you guys missed the part where I called up the internet company while on the stream and I screamed at them and they fixed it for me. I bought better and I also got Starlink hooked up at the same time. Did you miss that? Were you not watching when I got Starlink hooked up and called and yelled at them, and I got Elon Musk to come out to my house and Jack Murphy my anus while I was on the live stream? Can't believe, what show were you watching? All right, so here we go. Let's see what CNN has to say about it, right? I mean, might as well. We watched one end of the spectrum, and you know what spectrum I'm talking about. Let's watch the same end of the spectrum.
Fast-moving developments in the House probe into January.
That first pause on her was not kind. That was rude of me. So there's a better pause on whoever this person is. I don't know who this person is. Stop torturing us? No. You know what I had to do today? I was reading comments on the video of the trial earlier, and all these people bitching about all the commentary. So now this is what you're stuck with. This is what you get when I have to deal with people reading comments. When I have to deal with reading comments on the Theodore Edgecombe trial, people saying, these guys talk while other people are testifying. Yes, please, for the love of Christ, if you don't want to hear us talking, go anywhere else. Please. I don't want you here. I do not want your view if it's you being mad that people are talking. That's the last thing I want. Oh my God. Anyway, so this is what you guys get.
January 6th to tell you about now. On Monday, the committee met virtually with notorious right-wing conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. Soon after that discussion, Jones told his podcast audience he pleaded the fifth almost 100 times. Also, a judge has now ordered lawyer John Eastman, a key architect of Trump's 2020 election scheme, to turn over emails to the committee. Eastman authored the infamous coup instructions that were sent to Vice President Pence after the election, and he was in the Willard Hotel war room on January 6th. CNN's Jessica Schneider's tracking all of this for us. Jessica, let's start with Alex Jones. We're hearing
let's start with Alex
claims
Jones
coming from him regarding his talks with the committee. Walk us through those and why House investigators are interested in him.
And what's interesting.
So this is great. The one thing you notice between the very similar format between CNN and MSNBC is both of them have women reporting on this subject. And that is a beautiful thing. I'm really glad to see women on both MSNBC and CNN in the clips that we've watched reporting on this issue.
About this, Anna, is the committee actually subpoenaed him back in November. He then sued, but now he's saying that he did in fact end up talking to the committee on Monday. So the committee's particularly interested in Jones because he could have key knowledge about how the rally before the Capitol attack was planned and how the funding operation worked. That we know that's one of the key components the committee's looking into. So
how the funding operation worked? Like, again, they're going to make this into everybody at the Capitol on January 6th being all in on it. This is a massive op. All the while routinely denying the funding of the Summer of Love and all of those things. Okay, that's too coquet. That doesn't really matter. But it is kind of important that they, oh no, you know, when pallets of bricks are being shipped out and lunches are being brought in and buses of people are being brought into towns like Kenosha or whatever, that's not organized. That's nothing like that. That's all grassroots. It's fine, whatever. But January 6th, what they're going to do is they're going to And this is what what this lady's talking about right now, that it's this massive funded organization. And everybody there who was not in on the funded organized part is individually like sitting around scratching themselves in their underwear going, well, I don't remember I must have been the only guy not in on it. Right. And it turns out there's probably a lot more of those not in on it than in on it, but that's how it's going to be. That's how it's going to be framed. That's how it's been framed already. But that's what they're doing. It's amazing.
Committee previously said that Alex Jones, he helped organize the rally at the Ellipse, that's near the White House. And then he even facilitated a donation from the heiress to the Publix supermarket's fortune. Her name is Julie Jenkins. That donation reportedly amounted to 80% of the total funding that they received for the rally. So Alex Jones now saying that he did meet virtually with the committee, and he called the questions from the people at the committee dogged. He said the committee already had access to his text messages, and the committee showed him copies of his emails. Jones did say that he was told by his lawyer to plead the fifth. He did so almost 100 times during this interview.
Good. If any of you ever go before Congress, please, for the love of God, consider pleading the fifth constantly and endlessly, and punctuate it with, I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent, you fucking pussies. You fucking fascists. Something like that. That would be great. That's not legal advice. That's very bad legal advice. But, God, don't ever call me in front of Congress. I don't know if I'll be able to respect the rules of decorum in Congress. Fuck them. Fuck them. Both sides, by the way, left and right. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I don't participate in anything like this, so I'm probably never going to get called into Congress on anything like that. But we'll see. If they do, I'll pause to read super chats in the middle of it.
So, Anna, it's clear the committee already had a lot of information on Jones from his phone. They showed him emails, texts, but maybe some of the information that Jones did give them might have filled in the gaps as they continue their wide-ranging investigation here, Anna.
What? There's no gaps, lady. There's no gaps. Like your thighs after a hot night at the buffet, there's no gap there. Pumpkin, sweet cheeks, schnookums. Sweetheart, did you not listen to the man? Did you not? I know he was mansplaining what was going on. They already have all of my text messages. They already have all my emails. They're showing me my emails. They're showing me my text message. What does he have to say to them? What gap does he need to fill? What does he need to do? What answer do they need from Alex Jones? You know, the reason he's called before the January 6th committee instead of just arrested is because they probably don't have anything to charge him with. So they're going to hope that he perjures himself, because that's what they do. That's what they do. It's a perjury trap. It's always been a perjury trap. Testifying in front of Congress is a perjury trap. When you're Alex Jones, he's right on the money. His lawyer's right on the money. He knows exactly the score here. They've already got your texts and your emails, and he says everything else in his entire life in public on his show. What do they need Alex Jones to say? Tell me. Why don't you tell me what gap they could have filled in with a comment from Alex Jones? Please, honey, enlighten us with your fucking brilliance. God, these fucking people. I wonder what very important school she went to figure all this out.
And Jessica, as for John Eastman and that ruling, the committee has been seeking his emails for months. A university even got caught in the middle of this fight. Where do things stand?
Yeah, so right now, or maybe sometime this afternoon, Eastman's lawyers, they should be getting access to those nearly 19,000 emails that John Eastman actually wrote from his university account, Chapman University. The legal team, Eastman's
This is a lawyer This is a lawyer. And he wrote the emails organizing this shit, I guess, from his university email account. Come on. Come on. Okay. But look, author of 6-step plan for Pence to override election, order to turn over emails to January 6th committee. Mike Pence invoking what they believe to be legal actions that he could take to challenge the election is not a forcible overthrow of government. But don't write it from your university email. Like, create a Proton mail or something. I don't know. What? It probably doesn't matter at the end of the day. I've gotten 3 answers. I've gotten 3 different answers. She holds a degree in broadcast journalism from University of Southern California Annenberg School for Communication Journalism. Then someone says she went to Boston University. Then someone else says Jessica Schneider went to the University of Connecticut School of Law. I don't know which one is which. It doesn't matter. Let's see what she... Hold on, I got a couple super chats that I need to read. Taco the Turtle says, thanks. Mr. Obi-Wan 2020 says, hope you're doing well, Nick. My mom passed last October. Decided I needed to get my health in order after dealing with that. Turned my spare room to a gym. In a month and a half, I'm down 20 pounds and blood pressure went from 160 over 100 to 140 over 80. That's awesome, brother. Keep up the good work. That is inspirational change that everybody should be doing. Really, myself included. That is phenomenal. Get at it. Mike the Dad Crosby says scones are heavy, especially if they used heavy cream to dip them in. Walter Deadman says, all I get from this MSNBC report is Harry Potter is whining about other cartoon characters. And then finally, Q Revere says, you don't look triggered enough. Have you looked into Starlink? Keck. No, I've never heard of Starlink.
Legal team will then sort through all these emails. They'll identify which emails they think should stay confidential because they'll claim that they're legal advice between Eastman and then President Donald Trump. And then a third party, likely the judge in this case, will take those emails and determine which of them can officially stay secret. But either way here, House investigators, they...
Look at that guy's hair. Keep that man away from Velcro.
We'll be getting an array of emails. It could be fairly soon, and it could detail how Eastman allegedly plotted with Trump and others to stop the certification of the election, and even how Eastman reportedly told a group of 300 state legislators that they needed to stop the electors from putting Joe Biden in the White House. So, Anna, once the committee maybe soon gets a lot of these emails, it'll be another big step for the committee to decide and determine exactly how this plot unfolded, this one in particular from John Eastman.
The plot didn't unfold. Whether you thought it would work or not, the idea that they could have Mike Pence exercise discretion as the vice president who reads the electoral votes to not read the electoral votes of certain states, to then give those states the opportunity to review their own totals, to review the choices of their electors, and potentially decertify them. Again, whether or not you believed that that would work, I didn't. But that's not a violent overthrow. That's not an unlawful thing. That is trying to use a legal process established in the Constitution for the choosing of electors to figure out what's going on. The idea was to buy time and relieve some of the time crunch pressure that was going on. Now, again, I didn't think it would work. I've never heard of this process being effectively used or even considered before. I said, I don't know. But the fact that they tried to develop a novel legal strategy is not automatically criminal. And it's certainly not an armed overthrow or some sort of improper thing. People try to enjoin acts that are supposed to take place all the time. And the peaceful transfer of power. If there are people legitimately doubting the legitimacy of that transfer and trying to invoke a legal strategy for it, again, whether or not you agree with them becomes irrelevant. The question is, are their actions proper? And in this case, trying to get Mike Pence to do this, and of course, Mike Pence refusing, as he has the ability to do, that's fine. That's within the realm of propriety. Again, fucking
Jessica Schneider, thanks. For more on this, let's bring in CNN legal analyst Carrie Cordero. Carrie, let's stick with
shit. Her left eye droops more than mine. It looks like someone photoshopped her eye down a 1/4 inch. Damn. Okay.
the Eastman case first. Eastman's lawyer telling the judge that Eastman was working pursuant to representation of the president during some controversial moments before the Capitol attack, including his work in that Willard Hotel war room on January 6th. Is this the most direct line yet showing Trump's potential involvement, or is he still insulated from the key players?
Well, I think it's important that Professor Eastman was actually representing the former president as an attorney. And because if we look at the memo that Eastman wrote, it is marked privileged and confidential. And so that is the memo that lays out the strategy for subverting the election and undermining the proper way that the Electoral Count Act would work. So it does show that if, in fact, that memo was drafted by Eastman for the president, it shows a more direct involvement of advice that the president was seeking to actually subvert the election outcome.
No, it doesn't. You're an attorney. Allegedly. Your client says, hey, I need all legal options. I need all legal options. I don't trust what's going on. I don't trust these results. I need all legal options to challenge these results. What you got for me? So you draft a memo and say, here's what I got. Here's a potential avenue of approach. We attack the Electoral Count Act by going into the actual counting of the electoral votes. And we ask Mike Pence, we get our good ally, Mike, our good friend, who's just 2 days prior or whatever, who's rallying with us and talking about this stuff. And we ask our good friend to go ahead and refuse to read them. I mean, he has the reading power in the Constitution. And when he goes and just refuses to read them, that'll give the states some leeway on what they can do next. And then we can lobby in those states. We can ask for recounts. We can do all the things we want to do that would otherwise be time prohibited if we go ahead and do that. That's the memo that you get. You tell me how getting that memo shows that Trump was asking for some sort of illegal way to interfere in the election. And you can't do it. You can't do it that way. You need to get Trump asking for some illegal way to do it, because there are way better ways to interfere with the election than what they were trying to do. Trying to convince Mike Pence, a government animal like Mike Pence, to undo the traditional process of counting electoral votes, this vaunted role of the vice president. One of the most important things a vice president will do in their term is count the electoral votes and facilitate that democratic process that we go through every 4 years. Like, and I'm not saying that sarcastically. Vice presidents don't have a lot of other official duties. They have unofficial duties. They have supplemental duties to the president and stuff like that. But as far as official roles, the vice president, constitutional roles, that's a big one. That and being president pro tempore of the Senate and the tie-breaking vote. Those are the big things that the vice president does. So thinking that he's going to do that this is the long shot. There are way better ways, right? Like Trump could have invoked a military coup or something crazy like that. He could have done some other action. He could have had all members of Congress arrested at the time. He could have had the Obama method. He could have drone striked some people, like maybe the electors, electoral colleges before they even cast votes. There are a lot of illegal and horrific options that Trump could have taken. And this, let's ask Mike Pence to please do us a favor, is one of the least offensive ones you could pick. And it didn't work. It didn't even come close. Mike said no. I keep coming back to this going, there's got to be, I don't want there to be, but there's got to be something that Trump did that they can pin him on, because the guy did all sorts of stuff and he did it unconventionally. So like in my brain, I think logically there's got to be something, because there's always something. Like you and I probably have a something that's out there. I'm sure if someone like combed deep enough, we've violated something that we didn't even try to do, but we did it. Right. So, and that's I think there's a great article or whatever from a while back. It's like the average American commits 3 felonies a week or a month or something like that. Maybe it was a day. I don't know. But just the ludicrous amount of law that we're under. You figure there's got to be something they could get Trump on. They haven't. And it's amazing. It's amazing that they haven't done something or haven't gotten him on anything yet, because they have to have something. And I keep coming back to it. After all this time, they've been investigating Trump since 2015. And after all this time, the worst they've got is his lawyer drafted a memo saying we could ask Mike Pence to try and subvert the Electoral Count Act by refusing to exercise his constitutionally enumerated role of counting the votes. That's all they've got. That's what they've got. They can't link Trump to the storming of the Capitol. They tried. They failed miserably on that. They can't link Trump to the Oath Keepers or the Proud Boys or anything like that. They can't get him into this stuff. So now that they're down to this. This is the best they've got. This is insane. Insanity. At this point, based on what they've got on January 6th, I'm sure I've got more organizational role in January 6th than Trump would. Like that, I'm convinced by their inability to pin anything on him that I must have done something. And I didn't even talk to anybody about it.
So does that put Trump in more legal jeopardy?
Well, this is in the context of the January 6th committee investigation. So the committee is not necessarily looking for criminal prosecution. What they're trying to do is
Sure they're not.
establish the historical facts. Who was...
Oh, yeah. That's what the committee wants to do, to establish the historical facts. You're a lawyer, you lying fucking bitch. You're a lawyer. Stop it. Stop it.
Involved. How did this plot develop? That's different from the charges of individuals who engaged in violence and have been charged with seditious conspiracy. But I think it is an important part of developing the factual narrative for how January 6th, the events leading up to it, and how it unfolded.
And as Jessica reported, the judge instructed Eastman's lawyers to now go through some 19,000 emails and flag which ones may have that attorney-client privilege. Then a third party, perhaps the judge or
all of them should have that attorney-client privilege unless there's someone else CC'd on the email that's not within the president's direct legal team. This piercing of the attorney-client privilege shit is going way too fucking far these days, and attorneys should strongly consider going back to paper discussions with their clients and not email discussions, or hosting private peer-to-peer communication networks that are removed entirely from the internet. A secure chat server, a secure email system that is literally just between those two parties and is not hosted or transmitted by a third person. Prevent all this shit.
A team of reviewers will decide whether those emails will stay secret. How long could that process take? Obviously, the committee is up against the clock here, and that's a lot of emails.
Right. So what's interesting is the former employer of Mr. Eastman, Chapman University, got stuck in the middle of this, where the committee then came to the university and said to produce these emails that Mr. Eastman was obviously using his Chapman account. That's a high volume of emails to review, but these things, if teams are dedicated to do it, they can get through it. His lawyers will look at it, and then it will be whether or not there is an independent body, as you mentioned, Anna, to review them. So it can take a little bit more time, but obviously the judge thinks in this particular case that timeliness is important to the committee's work.
Are we talking days, weeks, months?
It's hard to predict. It just depends on how quickly this.
When's the election again? October. Pudding Cup. You know the answer. The answer's October. That's when the emails come out. How do you not know this?
This unfolds, how quickly the judge orders these reviews to be done, and then what teams are applied to be able to review them.
Let's turn to the Alex Jones news. It sounds like he was pretty unhelpful, pleading the fifth about 100 times, but we did learn.
Unhelpful? Fuck you. It is no American's duty to help shit. I was ranting about this, I think, the other day. We were talking about this Good Samaritan bullshit and this duty to help and all this stuff that people kept talking about. You're an American. You aren't obligated to help a goddamn thing. Fuck that. Do not help any of this tomfoolery, skullduggery, scumbaggery. The government doesn't need your help. They do not. This is not JFK days. Well, you ask not what my country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. No. Nope. No. Stop it. You don't have to help anything. They've got all of the power in the world right now. Our government has probably never had more power over its citizenry, and it has third-party corporate non-partners helping in the effort more than you ever could. Your emails, your private messages, your text messages, all that shit is getting turned over to the government at the drop of a fucking hat. You don't have to go help them do shit. You have constitutional rights. They can fuck right off no matter what any airhead bimbo at CNN has to say.
Learn about these emails, these text messages. What stands out to you?
Well, I think in his public comments, it sounds like he was saying that definitely this means the committee had access to his phone. That's not necessarily the case. The committee, the January 6th Committee of Congress, has had hundreds of people cooperate and provide information to them. So it could be, we don't know, and it'll be interesting to see how the reporting fleshes this out, but it could be simply that other witnesses provided communications that they had with Alex Jones. And so the committee then had the basis for that information to be
That's cute.
able to ask him questions.
It gives us a little peek behind the scenes in terms of their investigatory process. Thank you so much, Carrie Cordero. It's good to have you here.
Again, that's the deep analysis that we're getting. The high quality, deep analysis from the CNN legal expert. Well, they might not have had access to his phone. Sweetheart, it's the government investigating insurrection against the government. They have access to the fucking phone. They have access to the phone. And if you don't know this, they already have access to your phone. The only question is, are they going to use that access to convict you of a particular criminal act using the information from that phone to gather? And the reality is, if they're going to try and convict you of a crime, they're not going to use the phone angle, or they're not going to represent that they use the phone angle. They'll never tell you, and you'll never be able to get the information out. But they absolutely have access to your phone. They absolutely. I wasn't talking very loudly on the internet when the stories were running on this, but again, if you didn't pay attention to the Snowden leaks, I mean, the NSA is building giant server farms around the country to hold exabytes full of data, and those exabytes of data are text files, text messages, their metadata of communications. I mean, and the fact that there's exabytes of metadata and text messages themselves is terrifying. And they just store it all. They capture and store all of it. Not some, not most, all of it. It's all held on a server farm. And then what they do is, if they need a warrant, they get a warrant that goes back. It goes backwards through time to grab communications that you had that they haven't reviewed. And that's their justification. And it's not me making this up. This is what they have said. They go back. They say, well, we collected it, but we're not listening to it. We're not monitoring it. We're not reading it. No one could. There's too much stuff. But when they decide that they want to target you, they go back into the data and then they pull it out and then they review it. And it's already there because they already captured it. Well, because we were looking for other stuff, but we just capture this stuff incidentally. And again, this is from the government saying it, not me. I'm like, they've been doing this for years now. For years, they've been doing this. This has been the practice. It was exposed. They were all hush-hush about it until Snowden came out. Then for a while, they were kind of brazen about it. Yep, this is what we're doing. Oh, we're going to revise some of these policies, blah, blah, blah. They're only supposed to be intercepting international communications between, U.S. persons and known agents of foreign governments. And then it was suddenly known agents plus three steps away from known agents, which encompassed 97% of Americans, by the way. That's 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon, but only 4 degrees to Al Qaeda. That's how it worked. That's how it worked. 97% of Americans were 4 degrees to Al Qaeda or whatever, or Hezbollah, or whatever other terrorist fucking Muslim organization you wanted to pick. It didn't matter. And the government they didn't really care about that. It was sufficient that they got everybody wrapped in. Okay. And then they got caught on it. They got caught by Snowden. They got called out and they said, you're right. 3 is too many. We'll roll, 3 steps is too many. We'll roll it back to 2, which is something like only 68% of Americans now, as opposed to the 97. But the reality is they're still collecting all of it because they can't roll back the programs that are actually out there collecting it. It's just a giant skimmer running across the surface of the ocean, and what gets wrapped up and thrown in the compartment, that happens no matter what they do. They turn the program on. You can't turn it off because then we'd stop getting all that data on the terrorists. The terrorists. Your rights be damned. Your Fourth Amendment be fucked. And again, none of this is a secret or a conspiracy or a theory. You can find the government talking about it. Do they have the phones? Sweetheart, they have the phones. They have the emails. They didn't need to get them from some collaborator, or whatever you want to call them. They already had them, and they'll have them every time. What could Alex Jones say to the committee that they haven't already heard? Nothing. They don't need him to do that. They're just there to catch him in perjury. And if you ever get called before Congress, they're just there to catch you in perjury too. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Mike the Dad Crosby says, I don't expect reporters to understand the law and its nuance, but shouldn't legal analysts, not CNN legal analysts. These people aren't analysts. They're liars. They're what they accuse people like Alex Jones of being. They're propagandists. So anyway. Well, I was hoping there was actual footage of Alex Jones's testimony. Here, we got to do this. This is something completely and utterly unrelated to what we're talking about, but I need a palate cleanser here. Just a second. This will be good. I don't know. This might not be good, but look at this. Look at this. B. Ivory Lamar, Esquire, lawyer, entrepreneur, traveler, highly favored king, woke believer. All right. Here we go. Here we go. We got, look at these. Look at these photos that we've got here of who this man is a disaster for his client. All right, let's see what he says about Edgecombe here.
In Theodore Edgecombe's trial, September 2020, Edgecombe, riding his bike, makes a right turn from Brady Street onto Holton. An SUV.
Did that video look familiar with these? That's from the New Jersey guy. It's from the New Jersey guy, remember? I added some annotations, you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, bada bing, bada boom. We put some red circles on there. We got it. We got annotated video. That's how you do it. Pretty simple. You put the red circles on, you got annotations. Okay, that's what I did. $8.95. Got a good deal for this guy.
SUV makes that same turn, stops, and a man identified as Jason Clearman gets out. Video shows Clearman reach out. We've stopped the video just as he's shot and falls to the ground.
We believe that this is a clear case of self-defense.
Edgecombe's attorneys argue Clearman was drunk and the aggressor, which forced Edgecombe to fire. Court documents allege Clearman and his wife had to swerve around Edgecombe moments earlier and claimed Edgecombe.
I just was reading this. After careful review and consideration of the facts and prayer, I have decided to take on a high-profile murder case and defend Theodore Edgecombe, who has been charged with first-degree intentional homicide at trial beginning on January 3rd. We believe the facts of this case strongly suggest self-defense, and I look forward to dealing with the same at trial. Hashtag justice for Theodore. Hashtag B. Ivory Lamar. Hashtag the Lamar firm. Hashtag trial lawyers. This was 6 weeks ago, back in December.
Edgecombe punched Clearman through an open window and took off.
I feel that justice will happen for my son. This should not have never occurred. My son is a very humble person, and anybody that knows him knows that this is not his character.
Supporters.
I mean, what about the victims of his other crimes? Do they know him?
Also drawing parallels to the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. Jurors acquitted the Illinois teen who claimed self-defense when he shot 3 men, killing 2 during the unrest in Kenosha last year.
Theodore Edgecombe deserves the same right that Kyle Rittenhouse got. He deserves to be able to ride his bike throughout downtown without being pursued, without being stalked.
Edgecombe's attorneys.
He wasn't pursued or stalked. What the fuck are you talking about?
Signaling they will call John Black, the same use of force expert Rittenhouse's attorneys called in his trial last month.
As far as Dr. Black goes, we only learned about him through that trial, and he's very well qualified. He has a very extensive resume. He's testified numerous times.
Ben joins us now live from Holton and Brady Street tonight. Ben, it took police months to find Edgecombe.
Why is that?
It did, Joyce. Police arrested him in Kentucky in March, 6 months after that shooting right here on the Holton
Just
Bridge.
the 6
His
months,
trial
though.
is now set for early January, and Joyce, Edgecombe's defense attorneys say that he is expected to testify in his own defense.
And he did. He did today. They set that expectation and they made it. Oh, what is this? Oh, this is him. Is this him singing at church? That'd be great. Oh, no, this is him with Ben Crump? Ben Crump?
Attorney Biavri Lamar, a great young lawyer. Him and Attorney Shear have been leading the efforts in our office.
Let's see. Video from the press conference demanding FBI fully investigate Jelani Day's tragic missing, the same way they did Gabby Petito.
Thank you so much, Attorney Crump, to the Day family, to Reverend Jesse Jackson, Rainbow Push Coalition, the supporters across this country who stood in solidarity for Jelani Day. We thank you so much for your...
All right, we're not going to do that. That'll be shitty. Oh, someone wants me to watch the B. Ivory Lamar promo from his website. We'll do that in a minute. Gratitude. He's an inspirational poster generator. This man. Oh, here, let's see what he had to say about Rittenhouse.
Reaction to the
This should be
breaking news
good.
on the acquittal of Kyle Rittenhouse. We're
Oh, fuck you.
joined by B. Ivory Lamar, the attorney for the family of Jacob Blake. Blake's shooting sparked the protests last year that were happening when Rittenhouse went to Kenosha. B. Ivory, thank you so much for joining us. How are Jacob Blake and his family, for that matter, processing this acquittal right now?
The only reason, by the way, that Jacob Blake isn't in a prison cell is because of the bullets that went into him. Fucking hell. Oh, I probably should have made this disclaimer earlier, but fuck it. I guess it doesn't matter. They're not going to believe me anyway. But YouTube, if you didn't get it, just for the censors again and the reviewers, I am not, and nor have I ever condoned any violence or political violence or anything like that. I'm not an advocate or anything like that of violence or resistance to the system or whatever you want to call it. I don't give a shit. I'm talking about legal matters. I'm talking about constitutional rights. That's it. That's all I'm doing. I do not, and I've made fun so much of how much damage the January 6th shit ended up doing to all of us. So fuck off with your petty bullshit on that front.
Well, Wolf, unfortunately, I don't think the Blake family is surprised. I think just like many of America.
What does the Blake family have anything to fucking say about the Rittenhouse conviction or non-conviction? Jacob Blake has nothing to do with Rittenhouse other than the morons who were marching over the lies that the media published about Jacob Blake, the story that the media sold. You should be pissed off at people like Wolf fucking Blitzer and his network at CNN for somehow pimping this story that Jacob Blake was wrongfully shot. The man fought with police, picked up a knife, was trying to enter not his vehicle. He was stealing a vehicle without permission with children in it that he didn't have permission to take. So he's stealing a vehicle, kidnapping with a fucking warrant and violation of a restraining order, fights with the cops, picks up a knife, gets in the car, and he gets shot. And he somehow doesn't die because he's really fucking lucky to live through that. Most people just get plugged and die, and there's no story afterwards. Jacob Blake's family have Nothing. No one to blame but Jacob Blake for his actions on that day. No one to blame. The police officers were cleared of wrongdoing because it was an obviously good shoot. Well, no, it wasn't a good shoot. It was a bad shoot because he's still breathing. I was going to say he's still walking, but that isn't true. They are. He is so fortunate to be alive right now. Right now, many people have been unjustly shot by police. He is not anywhere even close to that list.
Americans, there's two different justice systems in this country.
Yeah, there's one where Jacob Blake goes to prison for all of the criminal acts that he did, and there's another where he suddenly gets a get out of jail free bullet lodged in his spine.
There's one for African Americans and there's one for the rest.
Oh, fuck you.
Including the police departments. So, I think what we just witnessed was an illusion of how the real judicial system is supposed to play out. So unfortunately, when you have such an illusion as far as picking 20 jurors in one day and expect that there not to be bias that still exists in that jury pool, and when you come to the verdict, I don't think there's really a cause to be surprised about the outcome.
Kyle Rittenhouse, as you know, was found not guilty on all charges today. And the police officer who actually shot Jacob Blake faced no charges and returned to active duty. What does that say to you about the justice system?
That it works.
Well, it says that we have a lot of work to do. I think there's one positive takeaway from this Rittenhouse trial, and I think that's only that he was actually charged. In the Jacob Blake shooting, where he shot 7 times, walking away,
not walking away. He wasn't walking away. He's entering a vehicle that he doesn't have permission to enter, with police all around the vehicle in the zone of danger, with kids in the car that he doesn't have permission to take. After assaulting police officers, after violating a restraining order. What the fuck are you talking about? Walking away.
Chesky never had to even stand a day in court. So I think that goes to show the testament of where we're at. And it goes to show how much work we have to do. I think more importantly, for all the supporters of Jacob Blake, all the individuals across this country who stood in solidarity.
They've been hoodwinked
with the Blake family
by shysters like you.
Social justice is not a moment, but it's a movement. And we still have a lot of work to do. And myself, Attorney Ben Crump, and all the other civil rights lawyers of this country have to come together and continue re-strategize as to how we're going to address these issues going forward.
The family.
You're not a civil rights lawyer. Don't call yourself that.
Of Anthony Huber, one of the men killed by Rittenhouse, says in a statement, and I'll read it to you. Today's verdict sends the unacceptable message that armed civilians can show up in any town, incite violence, and then use the danger they have created to justify shooting people in the street.
That's what Anthony Huber did.
Do you agree? Does this embolden, do you believe, others to follow Rittenhouse's example?
Yes, I think this is a very, very dangerous precedent that has been set. As an attorney in the state of Wisconsin, along with Georgia and Texas, I believe that, it's important that we have clear standards and be able to hold individuals accountable for engaging in provoking situations. I think that you don't see the same thing occur when it's African Americans. Hey, I hate to make this about race, but it is.
No, you don't. Your entire gimmick is making this about race. What are you talking about? Oh my God. I hate to make this about race.
It's about race. When is the last time that we've seen an African American in a highly publicized case, not charged when having that you used deadly force? That just doesn't happen. So again,
it's not a highly publicized case when they're not charged, generally speaking. And the status of the publicity doesn't occur typically when you have a black shooter. It typically doesn't occur. By the way, he's doing this on November 19th. Does anybody out there believe right now that he was not already hired by Theodore Edgecombe when he's making these statements? Because remember, his December 9th post on Instagram says that after careful consideration and prayer, he decided to take the case. Does anybody believe that 20 days prior he wasn't already hired?
And this is a dangerous precedent when one can come from another state, engage in activities that don't affect him at all, or he wasn't asked or required to be there, and he ends up shooting.
Trent Michaels says the black dude that got acquitted the same week Rittenhouse did on self-defense, that guy shot a cop. Yeah, but that guy's also going for life in prison at the same time because of his other charges. He was just acquitted of the murder there, of the felony murder. And the murder he was charged with and acquitted of was the murder of his girlfriend because the cop shot her and killed her. That's not a very good comparison case. Either way.
In killing two individuals and shooting a third and injuring them. This is a complete dangerous precedent, and I think we definitely have a lot of work to do to change it.
B. Ivory Lamar, thanks so much for joining us.
Well, I'm glad you're the guy taking up the job. With it safely in the hands of B. Ivory Lamar, I know we can rest that it'll be adequately done, as we can tell with how well he's doing on Theodore Edgecombe. You know what? I know all this shit's gonna come back and bite me when some fucking activist jury somehow finds Theodore Edgecombe not guilty after all of this fucking bullshit that's gone on. I know that's going to happen. I'm going to have to eat my own fucking words. But until then, I'm going to keep saying it. He's doing a shit job. And if Theodore Edgecombe happens to get off of these charges, it'll be a fucking miracle for that guy. And it'll have nothing to do with B. Ivory Lamar and everything to do with just a general sentiment that's in Milwaukee that this guy, for whatever reason, shouldn't go to prison. And I know because God can be a cruel master that's going to happen, but whatever. I'll take it. Okay, let me check real quick his website. People are saying watch this promo video. Okay, it's got to be terrible. Play the video. Wait, I gotta check. Someone said I think there may be copyrighted music on here. Just a second. What is happening? Pretty sure this is copyrighted. Okay. Okay, yeah. I know you guys can't see this, sorry. Wait a minute, this is on YouTube. It should say if there's copyright issues. Hold on, let me check. Let me check the description. No shit, there's no content ID claims on his video. We're doing it. Fuck it, we're doing it live. All right, here we go. Here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready? Boom. I said the principal office was in Houston. Yes. Bringing the strings.
When justice calls, this firm answers. At the Lamar firm, justice isn't desired.
Notice that fluctuating audio. That's that high production, like all the production value in the world. And they're like, you guys make fun of me for fucking up the audio, but I mean, this is a produced video, and you got these audio spikes going on. Very bad, shitty stuff going on here. Very embarrassing. But justice is not served; it's demanded.
It's demanded. We have resources across the country to assist you when you need it.
Wait a minute. Did you guys notice something? Watch just below the "it's demanded" thing. Okay, watch just below the "it's demanded" words that pop up. This is great. I'll point it out.
It's demanded.
Did he use a freeware? So he got stuck with their fucking watermark. His editor's using a free program to put in the video, to put in the thing, so they watermark automatically the text edition layered over it. Oh shit. Let me crank up the quality on this thing. It's really low. Okay, here we go.
We have resources across the country to assist you when you need it most. It can be in most places.
Very racist. He has a black man drive him around.
Within 24 hours. Whether your case involves a personal injury, insurance claim, civil rights violation, or criminal matter, you can rest assured knowing that you have a powerful law firm. If you feel like you've been boxed in, don't worry. I think outside the box. If you're hurt, I'm hurt. When you smile, I smile. And if you win, we win. The Lamar firm has been coined a 24-hour law firm because it's understood that legal issues don't work at 9 to 5 like most of us. Instead, this firm is here when it happens. You can count on the Lamar firm 24 hours a day, 365 days a year by calling 1-800-99-LAW-FIRM. What's the difference? This firm is more than just suits. Experience a lawyer who cares, a lawyer who's...
Your firm is... There it is again. Right there. Your firm isn't more than just suits, man. Your entire showed your Instagram. Your Instagram is all about that personal appearance. This whole thing is a fucking charade. Oh, God damn it.
Serves, a lawyer who fights. Clients.
Wait. Did you see that? Watch those words graphics again.
Experience a lawyer who cares, a lawyer who serves.
Who serves graphics.
Serves, a lawyer who fights.
Who fights graphics. Serve and fight the graphics. A lawyer who fights graphics. No, those fucking graphics injuring, kicking your ass all day long.
Clients are treated like family. This firm is in the community, of the community, and for the community. The Lamar firm.
I don't know how you treat your family.
Better together.
This is great. Oh, that's fantastic. I need a good video like that about the Ricada law firm. Ugh. We fight graphics. Okay. Is it time to take a liquor sip? I think so. Better together. All right. Play it again. Just have it on a loop forever. Oh my God. Oh, I was going to do, I was going to steal some more content. Let's see. Oh shit. Get out of there. Mm-mm. Let's see. Da, 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 da. Here we go. So Law and Crime has been live tweeting the trial because they're so on it, and you can see their engagement numbers are through the roof on this. Let's take a peek over here at what they've got going. So Law and Crime has been live tweeting the trial. I was following this a little bit. It says Theodore Edgecombe claimed on Tuesday that public defenders don't fight as hard for black people, which he did. I'm not going to play the clip because that's what he said. This guy says that's true though. So she says Rebecca Kalyani. Oh, follows me. Hey, good job. What's up, Rebecca? I disagree. I don't think that's true. I've seen these lawyers on court TV and podcasts, etc. Many public defenders work very hard for all their clients. I think part of the problem is they're just overloaded with cases. Hey, that sounds familiar. And I agree. Bart Madness has happened to me. My attorneys didn't even show up on court day, so I pled guilty to DUI and got 30 days house arrest. Kathy Rusin says, ugh, you needed Buck Esquire. He's a public defender that is going to defend. He's pound for pound. Public defenders are some of the best criminal lawyers you can have. Are there bad public defenders? Absolutely. Just like there are bad plumbers, teachers, bosses. One, a lawyer who has represented thousands of clients, public defender. One, a lawyer that has a collective knowledge of hundreds of lawyers, public defender. Lawyer who took the job out of passion rather than a paycheck, public defender. He's correct on all those things. He's correct. But this is what I wanted to get to. Oh, shit. Oh, God. This is going to be a disaster. Let's see what the latest in the Theodore Edgecombe hashtag. Let's see what's been going on here. I want to get the sentiment, the public sentiment on the Theodore Edgecombe trial. So Deering Cross, Edgecombe slips up big time, opening the door. The defense fought hard to keep close to the jurors. Defense criminal activities. There's no need to secure an attorney out of state. He already had one. This is Chasing Truth Logical Notes. I wonder if Law and Crime is going to send them a cease and desist. Emilio Perez says, if Kyle Rittenhouse and George Zimmerman can go free, too can Theodore Edgecombe. All completely different cases. Zimmerman and Rittenhouse are completely different cases. Hey, there's Shri. What's up? Good job, Shri. The biggest plot twist would have been if the wife set up her husband to be punched and killed, and that's why she took so long and never called 911. Oh, God. Let's skip this. Let's go straight to Kathy Rusin. This is the executive producer at Law and Crime. She's been tweeting out about this Edgecombe trial. So we're going to go back to earlier in the day and see what her tweets have to say. Because I think I found this a little bit interesting going through, because you can't live tweet everything out. So it's what you pick, right? So let's see her editorial bias on this. This could be a long segment. Maybe we don't want to do this forever, but Edgecombe testifies when he heard the Clearman's car following him. He said he heard tires screech and thought of Ahmaud Arbery and thought these people were now hunting him down. This was, again, to me, this is one of the more unbelievable things he said. Invoking the names of Ahmaud Arbery and Sandra Bland. Felt like that guy you meet at a party who tells you all the celebrities he's met and hung out with. Oh, yeah, I drank with so-and-so, whatever. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, you thought of Ahmaud Arbery. Sure, that's what you were thinking of. Got it. Look, I don't know about you guys, but if someone's chasing me down, I'm not thinking of all the white people that have been killed. I'm not thinking of them. I'm thinking I'm going to be killed, right? Like that's my way of dealing with that. I'm not sure. but he testifies he was fearful and in fear for his life. Actually, this is a point that is a legal point of contention I would raise. Edgecombe does not testify that he's fearful or in fear of his life at the time he pulls the trigger. Edgecombe testifies he's in fear for his life when they roll up on him and he gets off his bike at the curb. That's when he testifies that he's in fear for his life. Here, let's see if it's on this clip. I don't know if they've got it on this clip or not, but. Oh, fuck me. Audio is so bad on this trial.
In a bike lane to now being on what appears to be a sidewalk at this point.
I did that because I was escaping from being hit.
Now, mind you, the predicate of the question is, why did you go up on the sidewalk after being in the bike lane? To me, this is actually a big mistake of the defense. They got him to admit he was in fear for his life, doing the building blocks, which is something we talked about earlier in the day. At the wrong parts, he's building the building blocks. He's in fear here. This incident is over the moment he's on the sidewalk and the Kia hits the brakes and the guy gets out the car. You're in fear for your life from the car. Why are you in fear from your life on the man following you? I think this is a big misstep. The attorneys argued today over whether or not self-defense as an instruction could even be included. I would argue here, if I'm the state, I would supplement my argument and say he did not indicate that he was in fear for his life at the time of the shooting. He didn't raise the self-defense elements.
As I got on the sidewalk, I was fearful, in fear of my life. I knew that these individuals were not,
All right, we're not going to keep going on that because we're only using the amount necessary to make the point. He says he accepts responsibility, but he became in fear of his life when they started chasing him down. Okay. He was afraid of the car as it was driving up on him. That's what he was afraid of. He testifies when Jason Clearman got out of the car, he heard someone yelling, I'm going to kill you, Nibba. I'm going to kill you, Nibba. Sure he did. No one else, by the way, has testified to any of this, including the people who are watching this event outside, who would have also presumably been able to hear whatever was yelled. Nobody has testified that that happened at all. Only Edgecombe. He said he pulled the firearm but didn't have any intent at that point. He said Clearman lunged towards him. He took a step back, and the reaction from that, the firearm just went off. This should be a nail in the self-defense coffin. And if anything, it's possible that a self-defense instruction won't come up. It's because of this, and he doubles down on it later. Asked about why he didn't turn himself in during the 6 months following the shooting, said he didn't feel he'd be heard out about what happened. He mentioned Wisconsin has a largely black mass incarceration rate. Is that true? Is that true at all? Let's see. Wisconsin black incarceration rate. Hey, it is true. Wow. Let's take a look at this. Wisconsin imprisons 1 in 36 black adults. No state has a higher rate. No state has a higher rate than Wisconsin. Higher than any other state in the country. A new report found highlighting long-standing and deep disparities in the state's criminal justice system. The report, authored by the Sentencing Project, look at the fucking chart. Look at the chart. Please look at the chart and recognize the truth, the fucking truth, spelled out in the most barest sense you can possibly spell it out. Look at it. Look at the chart. Look at it. The lowest black to white incarceration rates are the Deep South. The absolute lowest ratios are in the Deep South. The highest ratios. Some of the worst liberal hellholes. California, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Pennsylvania, New York. Whatever this fucking state is. I don't even know. What state is this? Is this Delaware? Wait, is that Biden's state? Isn't that Delaware? Oh, shit. Oh, is that Jersey? Oh, yeah, that's Jersey, of course. Just south of New York. Damn it. Delaware's over here. Look, I'm not a geography. Oh, God. Oh, my God. It's fucking poetry, isn't it? The racist states like West Virginia, North and South Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Arkansas, Texas, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee. All of those are fine. Share the link. Okay. Here you go. Yes, and New Hampshire. Vermont's a shithole. New Hampshire's better. It's amazing. The only like mega liberal state that isn't Hawaii's doing okay. Pretty sure Hawaii doesn't even allow black people on the island. Where were we? What? I don't even know what tab I was in anymore. Just a second. Oh wait, were we? We were on Twitter. That's right. Has a largely black mass incarceration rate. A lunch break, direct examination is finished. After lunch, the state will be questioning. All right, here we go. Cross exam. Were you legally allowed to carry a firearm that night? I've accepted responsibility for those actions. He pleaded guilty before jury selection. I'm pretty sure he pleaded guilty to bail jumping. Wait a minute. God damn it. I got to keep looking this stuff up. Theodore Edgecombe pleads guilty. Yeah, he did not plead guilty to the underlying firearms charge, I don't think. Let's see. I haven't read this. I'm going off of memory. Let's check what Kathy Ruson's network says. Bicyclist facing trial for allegedly murdering immigration attorney in road rage incident pleads guilty to related bail jumping. Okay. Even though he is not allowed to possess firearms while facing cases for felony domestic battery and first offense drunk driving with injuries. He pleads guilty to 2 and 3 of the counts ahead of jury selection this morning. Pleaded guilty to count 2 bail jumping, count 3 bail jumping. So that's... Let's see. And what did she say again? I want to be very careful. Were you legally allowed to carry a firearm that night? I've accepted responsibility for those actions. He pleaded guilty before jury selection. No, he didn't, Kathy. That's a misrepresentation. He didn't plead guilty to the firearms charges. He pled guilty to the bail jumping charges that were charged along with the murder. Those firearm charges are still pending. Prosecutor, were you legally allowed to carry a firearm? No. So here we go. Prosecutor asked why he didn't go to the police station nearby. He said he was in a state of shock and to think wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't. testifies he threw the gun in the body of water when he was on the run 2 states away in Indiana. He said if he was caught with it, police or citizens might try to justify shooting him. He did say that. They've left out a lot of this cross-exam so far. Isn't the real reason you waited until Indiana to throw a gun out there as the chances we'd go find it? We'd find it go out the window? No, that's not true. Okay. You said you had to flee the state to buy time to get legal representation, right? Yes, but you had 2 attorneys at that time, didn't you? Objection sidebar. I love finding what she decides to put in here. Oh yeah, if you missed it today, he threw the gun away. They've never found the murder weapon. He threw it away somewhere around the Illinois-Indiana border. Just tossed it. That's what he says. He admits to changing his hair when he was on the run so the police couldn't find him, said he was in fear of going into custody. Admits when finally caught in Kentucky, he lied to the officer about his identity. Prosecutor on Theodore Edgecombe not wanting Jason Clearman to get away right after he allegedly hit him on his bike and yelled a racial slur. He asked him, don't you think Clearman felt the same way after you punched him? Yep, he did say that. Did you ever think maybe he was just going to punch you after you punched him? No, I didn't think he was going to punch me is not the best line for a self-defense case either. By the way. But his point was he thought he would do more. Edgecombe says when Clearman lunged him, he stepped back and the gun went up, said it was reactionary. So you're saying you didn't mean to shoot him? There was no intent there. It was a total accident? Yes. Terrible moment for Edgecombe. Terrible moment. If 4 other people saw your hand go up with a gun and shoot the victim, you're telling us that's not what happened? Do I have that correct? Yes. So again, if you are acting in self-defense, you don't accidentally act in self-defense. If the police had not been told by people associated with your family that you were the shooter, were you ever going to turn yourself in? That was the goal. I just needed legal representation. Gosh, when you read these tweets, it cuts out so much of what's going on. So much of what's happened in this case. Cross-exam is over. Now defense is moving for a mistrial due to the state mentioning the other open cases. Defense says it went further than the judge initially allowed. Judge denied, saying defendant opened the door. And the defendant absolutely opened the door. Absolutely opened the door. Kathy Rusin. Judge Borowski says not happy that the case is taking longer than planned. He should handle the cases in L.A. Wink face. Yeah, L.A. is a disaster. Now redirect by defense attorney Lamar. He asked if he's nervous. This redirect was garbage. Edgecombe says he is due to the circumstances. My whole life is pretty much on the line. We need cameras in federal courts. I agree with Kathy Rusin here. Here, I'll support her in real time. In real time, I support her. Absolutely. It's too bad. It's too fucking bad that law and crime doesn't realize the actual goal that we purportedly share. You know, that we could be allies in this. It's too bad that they're too fucking dumb to realize that. John Black takes us. That's it. I mean, come on. That's all she got out of Cross. Cross was an hour and 10 minutes. This could be a problem for the defense. You think? The state arguing judge shouldn't give self-defense instruction to jury because claim to self-defense. Edgecombe has to admit he intended to shoot because there was imminent threat of life or great bodily harm. Judge will decide tomorrow. Judge is probably going to allow that in anyway. It's still a problem for the defense. Still a problem for the defense. But yeah, this person's correct. Who is this? Investigative reporter, Boston-born, Minnesota-raised, St. Olaf, Northwestern grad, fan of the Jets and my dog, middle child. Okay. Good job. Deontay Raziels, his defense, one of the attorneys tested positive for COVID-19. Jury selection in Florida versus postponed with no new date to start as of now. Okay, so people have been asking me to cover Deontay, but it's been postponed. So there you go. Anyway, what the editorial bias is very interesting to me. I don't know. It probably wasn't interesting to you. It probably just looks like drunk Nick rambling through some weirdo's tweets, which it is. Can we be honest? That's what it is. But at the same time, like looking at that and realizing that there's an hour of testimony, an hour and a half, I think, on direct, an hour and 10 minutes on cross. And we got like 6 tweets about what happened on each one. And they misrepresent just how bad he looked, how bad Theodore Edgecombe actually looked in that defense. Vash the Stampede says, is disposal of a gun that way illegal? Probably. Deathwish says, harping on the day show, do 13 hours on Twitch, you fuck. I can't do 13. If I did 13 hours right now, I'd be well into the daytime show, which it's the final day of trial. Probably they're going to do closing arguments tomorrow, and we'll probably get a guilty verdict by the end of the day. If I had to guess, we're going to have a guilty verdict by the end of tomorrow. So they're going to come in. They're going to hammer out finalized jury instructions. Judge is going to read the jury instructions for 20 minutes. We got 3 hours of closing argument. He said hard limit, hour and a half for each side. And that's it. And then it'll go to jury deliberations. Sorry, this room is fluctuating in temperature. Oh, the movie 13 Hours? I wanted to. I've never seen that movie. I would love to watch it. I can't tonight. But when the trial's over, that's one that should be good. You DM me on Twitter the link to the case on the court site. The use of a dangerous weapon is a modifier to first-degree intentional homicide. Okay. Why do I care that the use of a dangerous weapon is a modifier to the first-degree intentional homicide? I don't know what I'm supposed to get out of that. Not trying to be rude. I'm just not sure. He used a dangerous weapon. That's pretty obvious. First degree intentional homicide has a life sentence with no probation or no parole. So I'm not sure what the modifier is or why it's helpful. I don't get it. Next. Couple super chats. Brent Max says, just look at Ruby Ridge, BLM in Oregon. Think they quit farming. Mike the Dad Crosby says, can we have a law and crime stream tonight? What do you mean a law and crime stream tonight? Question mark says, listen to me for fuck's sake. When the only agency tasked with protecting whistleblower complaints has been compromised by the executive branch, that stops whistleblowers. OSHA isn't compromised by the executive branch. OSHA is the executive branch. It's in the executive branch. It has been since it starts. All administrative agencies are in the executive branch. I don't know what you want me to tell you on that. Dude, I don't. Do you think that whistleblowers are suddenly not protected because OSHA is now I don't understand. OSHA's under the executive branch. They always have been. So they're in no different position because of the OSHA mandate. I'm not sure. I just don't get what you're after. I don't get it. I don't understand. Call me a retard or something because I don't know. Okay? I'm not following the chain. I'm not following the inferences that I'm supposed to draw. I get it. Executive branch bad. Yes. Joe Biden's executive branch is a disaster. I got it. We have evidence of that. It's pretty obvious. Yes. Biden's going to be bad on whistleblowers. just like Obama was bad on whistleblowers. None of this is news to me. Maybe, is it supposed to be, maybe other people? Do you need me to convey this to other people? Look, Obama jailed more journalists than any president in recent history. I think going all the way back to Abraham Lincoln. All right. So there, it stands to reason that Biden's policy on whistleblowing journalists, if you can even find one still alive today, would be the same. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, because literally all of the journalists are now just within the establishment. They're not just sucking Joe Biden's cock anymore. They have re-grafted themselves into Joe Biden's foreskin. All right. So they're compromised. Obviously, that's pretty fucking clear. But as far as like, will their organization protect other whistleblowers? No, Obama didn't. Biden's not going to. This is not a surprise to me, but it's not because of OSHA. Like, I don't know, man. I'm not following it. If maybe if you need to email me and explain it to me like I'm a complete idiot, maybe that would help. And there goes the internet. There goes the fucking internet. Hi. All right. We've got the rest of Super Chats, Odyssey Chats. We're going to read those. And then I'm probably going to go just weep into a bowl of, like, I'll weep into a measuring cup until I get two cups of tears, and then I'll pour them into a pot and boil them and cook my ramen in it. Maybe that's what I'll do from now. Like, I don't know what else to do. I found out today that I cannot eat grilled chicken thighs. Grilled chicken thighs are also on the list of rancid tastes produced by my COVID riddled AIDS taste buds. I could tell before cooking them that it was probably not going to work. I could smell the rancid smell on the chicken skin itself. I've not tried boneless or skinless thighs. However, what I did try was a chicken breast. Same thing. I could get through the chicken breast. I could eat that because chicken breasts don't have a lot of intramuscular fat. So that worked. But yes, a grilled, no oil added chicken breast has the same rancid taste that everything else does. But by the end of the day, I'm going to just be eating bologna sandwiches. That's all that'll be left. Have you tried to bake your bacon? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you cook it, apparently. How you cook any of this shit. The Chinese food is all cooked in oil, so that doesn't work either. I tried that. I'm losing my patience on the taste bud thing. I read the grandma email at the end of the show, at the end of the daytime show. You must have missed it. I don't know how, but I read the grandma email. Have you tried to reboot your taste buds? No, I tried washing them with warm soapy water though. How about sushi? Maybe get some sushi. I know you must be trolling me right now. Go see a hypnotist. God, they don't work on me. Great US says, I've been haunted by Lamar. He has a fat face, but the rest of his body is skin and bones. What the fuck is going on? He also says, got off work late, started watching 2 hours after the start, and Nick still angry rant, check mark. Radicalized Ryan sent a a Odyssey coin money thing and also a coin comment. Thank you, Radicalized Ryan, for always sending those stickers. I appreciate it. Rael says, can a game... I read that one. Just Cause says, racist, late to start Edgecombe recap, N-bomb. Admiral Nelson says, my grandma passed on this morning after a full life at 99. She had 7 kids in 9 years and has over 30 grand and great grands. She will be missed. Oh, Admiral Nelson, you know what? Going at 99, that is a full life. So cheers to her, buddy. And cheers to the legacy she left behind, man. Girlfriend 66 says, RE kids, you love them a little bit more when they are sleeping. Potentially Criminal says, pros, prosecutor, what's your favorite color? Theodore, I was forced to react in self-defense. Jay Wolfenstein says, on a scale of 1 to Chandler Halderson, how big of a liar is Theodore Edgecombe? Man, he's close. He's close. I don't believe this guy at all. I do not believe this guy at all. No, Machiavelli says, yeah, the virus destroys olfactory cells. I wish it would destroy them. I would much prefer not tasting, because then I could still eat fried chicken. I would much prefer to not taste. But instead, I got some weird thing where everything I like tastes bad. I'm probably actually afflicted by God rather than COVID or whatever. But I would take the no taste. I would take that. Yeah, fucking hell. Lord Vader says, Edgecombe sounded credible to us. Warm regards, Bill and Hillary. Slade says, Lawnard clip should make a compilation of every time the defense forgot their questions 5 seconds after asking it. Nick says, ever been absolutely reamed out by a judge? I had a judge yell at me one time. One time. I've told this story before. I'll tell it again. It was not my case. I was standing in for an attorney. He was not able to make a hearing. It was a guilty plea in a horrific criminal sexual conduct case. My sole role was to facilitate the guilty plea of the client. Of course, it sounded so easy. It was not that simple. But that being said, we were able to get that done. But my client, or the client, I should say, my client, I guess it's technically my client too, but the client on the stand in Minnesota to plead guilty to a felony, you have to lay appropriate factual basis for it. The court has to convict you on facts. They can't just convict you on your words. So you have to give them enough to convict. So the client had to recount the criminal sexual conduct. Now, the judge would not accept what is called an Altford plea or a no contest plea. No contest or Altford pleas say basically, I will not or cannot admit to the facts, but I will admit that the state has enough against me that I can't refute, and therefore I'll accept guilt, even though I'm not admitting to the facts underpinning the guilty verdict. So the judge would not accept that plea. The judge said that type of plea is someone not admitting to what happened, therefore they're not able to enter rehabilitation programs in prison honestly, which is false, by the way. That is not at all what that means. From a psychology perspective, it's very offensive to suggest that what someone will admit to now precludes them from accepting responsibility at a later date. There's also, as far as I'm aware, no particular legal basis for his refusal to accept the Altford plea. It's just he's just a codger who didn't want to do it. This judge, by the way, was a shit judge, just an absolute shit judge. And I hope he became a fan of the show and he's watching right now. By the way, if that happened, if you did become a fan of the show and you're watching right now, I'm sorry, but buddy, you were a fucking shit judge. You're a garbage judge. You made up your own law. You didn't follow proper procedure. Fuck you. You're terrible. You're a discredit to judges everywhere. Go away. Go away. Go retire yourself somewhere else. If you became a fan of the show, I don't want you. Go fuck off. You're a bad judge, a bad judge. Anyway. And again, even though the client in this case admitted to the wrongdoing and admitted to the punishment that he was required to take, 12 years in Minnesota prison was the plea. Even though all that happened, I will say that there was no way that the client would get a fair trial under that judge. That judge had adjudicated him guilty by the charge. And I mean that. I mean, it was clear from the very first hearing. I wasn't there for the first hearing. I got all the data, transcripts, and everything. It was clear that from the very first hearing, that judge was not going to give that person a fair trial based on the charges. All right. So anyway, that being said, and this is part of why the judge wouldn't accept the Alford plea. He hated the defendant. And while the defendant probably merits some hate, that's not the judge's job. So anyway, doesn't accept that plea. So we have to plead out the facts. The problem with pleading out the facts in this case is that the client was on severe drugs, very severe drugs at the time that the acts occurred, that he committed the acts. So these drugs would, when taken in conjunction, and I don't remember the names of them, would allegedly knock this guy out for like 12 hours at a time, unable to be awakened, unresponsive, deep sleeps. And so when he's on these things, he is not conscious of what's going on around him. I had some testimony from him where, he had gotten the family ready to go out on like a trip. They got everybody in the car. They got everybody packed up, hooked the boat up, went out, and he woke up basically while on the lake. Like he drove the family out to the lake, got the boat in the water and everything, and woke up on the lake and was freaking out because he didn't know how the fuck they got onto the lake. This dude was he had very, very little awareness of what was going on many times of the day. And then he had severe memory loss issues. All right. So the judge is trying to get this guy to testify, and the judge is asking for really, to my opinion, irrelevant but intense detail on this. So what you need to know about the case is this guy impregnated his own daughter. All right. Gross case. Horrific. Very, very nasty. And there's a whole bunch of weird shit in that case that's alleged back and forth by the parties. We don't need to get into it. At the end of the day, that's the case. That's the plea. That's the plea to it, right? So he's pleading guilty to this. So the facts that you need to establish for criminal sexual contact with a child, I think she was 15 or something at the time. The facts you need to establish are, did perpetrator engage in a sexual act with a minor? Right? Like that's it. Those are the facts you need to establish. So you need to establish that the sex act occurred and that it occurred with a minor. You need to establish when it occurred, where it occurred. That's the basics, right? Was it penetrative or non-penetrative, right? Those types of things. I think there's a distinction in this one, obviously. And we know this occurred because there's a baby and you got DNA, right? So you know this occurred. There's no question. Knock that one out pretty. Once that DNA report came in, it was like, well, this is a Maury plus get on the wall moment. You're going to prison. But still, the judge is asking this guy to testify to what he doesn't remember. And so you have to establish a rough occurrence of it, like not the exact time, but at night, sometime around this month when this would occur, which you could kind of track it back from the baby being born. You could get an approximation of the time, right? Simple. It makes some sense. You track it back that way. So you get that. And then though, the judge is like, well, what were you wearing? Describe your clothes. And the guy's like, I don't remember, I don't know what I was wearing. It's like, well, the judge is like, well, are you wearing pajamas? Are you just wearing underwear? It's like, judge, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter what this guy's wearing. He takes it off and engages in the sexual act with the victim. Right? It's just like, well, what is she wearing? How did you remove the clothing? It's like, judge, first of all, fucking weird. What are you like? But what does this have to do? Because he's about to testify about, did you engage in the sexual act with the person? Did you do this? And that's going to be yes. But the guy's like, I can't remember, right? I cannot remember what I was wearing. I don't remember anything. So the judge calls us into chambers and he just starts screaming at me that this guy's trying to get out of this, blah, 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 blah. You need to get him to agree to these facts. So I'm sitting there. And when the judge stops yelling, I said, Judge, this isn't my client. I'm standing in for this hearing. He's like, oh, I know, but you need to do that. And I said, well, would you like him to testify to what you want, or would you like him to testify to the truth? And then the judge stopped yelling at me. that was the end of that. But he was hollering for quite a while. But I don't really, man, if you're gonna yell at me these days, I don't really care anymore about getting yelled at. Oh, what the fuck? So that's what happened. That's my one time a judge has yelled at me story. I've not been yelled at by a judge other than that. They haven't really had any occasion to do that. I don't haven't needed to get yelled at by a judge. He didn't need to yell at me either. But we got the testimony that was necessary. That guy went to prison. I assume he's still in prison. I don't see how he would get out. That wasn't 12 years ago. Scott Eklund says, meme review on the memes at Bertland11 made on Twitter, please. He tagged you. No, it's late. I'm sorry. Josiah Carr. Maybe I'll check it out for tomorrow. Maybe we can integrate it into the show. Josiah Carr says, are you scared to have Sam Hyde on the show like that coward Joe Rogan? I invited Sam Hyde on the show a long time ago and would love to have him on. I think Sam Hyde's fantastic. Very funny guy. I would have him on the show. No problem. When I invited him on, Sam said he doesn't really like doing live shows. So, but if Sam ever wants to come on, that's one of the sad losses of my old Twitter account was I had some DMs with Sam and now I don't anymore. But I would, I would have him on the show. Absolutely. Christopher says, I believe Edgecombe. People in car were drunk and hit him. He retaliated and flees. Drunk guy attacks. All the BLM stuff was irrelevant and hurt him. You can believe him. I don't believe he was hit. I don't buy that for a second. I also don't know that the wife was drunk. The drunk guy does follow him after he gets punched, but I'm not buying the hit. And especially the way he describes it as almost head-on collision between two cars and there's a bike and no one can find this video. Okay. Johnny, and talk about what? What would I talk about with Sam Hyde? Oh, I would talk about why he keeps doing all the school shootings. Kiernoth says, I'm too busy shit posting on this chat. Why would I waste time shit posting on their chat? The chaos here is fun. Yeah, I see shit like that. The people going to the law and crime thing. I mean, one, I think it's a very few people who have done that, and two, I of course don't encourage that. That's against YouTube's rules to encourage that shit. And three, I just don't see the point. I mean, again, law and crime. Are they even watching their own coverage? Are they there? What are they doing? They're feeding the court TV camera to you. That's all law and crime is doing. That's it. Okay. Very, very, very much creative work that they claim a copyright on. That's fine, but I mean, they're not doing or adding anything to it. It could be literally any other website on the planet could do the exact same thing. David Bowser says, check the bottle again. Famotidine is a heartburn medicine. It's Prilosec. No, I know. And again, it's always interesting when you share like your medication regimen with the chat. It's like, yes, my doctor is an allergy specialist and has been for a very long time, but heartburn medication tags, you have histamine A receptors and histamine B receptors. Histamine B receptors are related to heartburn and acid reflux. And it's still a type of antihistamine, and those have to do with the urticaria response. I don't know. I've read plenty about it along with what my doctor says, and yes, I know what it is, and I know what it's I'm prescribed it, even though it's over the counter. Patrick Brown says, when Fauci said Rand Paul was attacking him for money and said his website in the committee and said his website in that committee last week, it made my second political donation ever. Don't tell me what not to do. Matt W says, pay that bill, brother. The DNI next says 69 upload, 69 download. Mike Sullivan says, phew, glad it was your connection. Thought it was my eyes or the 4 gin and tonics for dinner. /3TC says, I didn't know AOL still had dial-up customers. Tall Skinny Geek says, my aunt gives her internet connection herbal tea and honey whenever it's sore, or maybe that was her arthritis. I don't know, worth a try. Rick Bitter says, what's wrong with me? I'm watching a functional alcoholic yell at the internet in 64-bit potato vision. SDFU says, a hermit in Bufug, Egypt, complaining about internet is like a horn dog in Alaska complaining about the lack of attractive tail. You moved there, Luddite. Glivy says, Nick, have you tried fixing the internet yet? Razgriz says, clearly you need a tech priest to cleanse the machine spirit. Corrections 101 says, third day of the coop for me. I need tonight to be extra spicy, Nikki. Well, I don't know if I fulfilled that. I don't even know how the show has gone, by the way, because I've been so fucking annoyed through most of it. Not entirely at the chat, but mostly. Not applicable says Wednesday morning maintenance, common and telecom. Daniel says, here's that first shot of whiskey. Cheers, Nick. Hey, thanks, brother. Busy's crack pipe says, F the quality. We're all drunk and you're blurry anyway. SCFU says, try this, the command prompt ipconfig/flush DNS. R says, Nick, why does the internet suck right now? Edgecombe, I was just trying to defend myself. Can you repeat the question? Michael Palmer says, Nick, but didn't one of your doctors also diagnose you with narcolepsy? Yes, a sleep specialist diagnosed me with narcolepsy. I could understand insomnia, but narcolepsy, really? So much for your doctors. I don't have insomnia. I go to sleep immediately when I lay down. I can actually, if you give me a book, I'll fall asleep in moments, mere moments. Put me on a couch and I'm out. I can fall asleep very, very quickly. But people who think that all narcoleptics fall asleep or sleep all the time don't understand narcolepsy. The way narcolepsy works is it messes up your circadian rhythm. It messes up how you perceive tiredness. So when you're tired, you feel awake. And when you're awake, you feel tired. It's very strange, but that's how it goes, man. Mandrake says, as a field tech, just type /ignore internet know-it-alls and do what you do, man. Kov says, Cali bro here, not gay. Your stream is coming through okay. Sorry you're getting so much advice. Maybe check with your homeowners association. Sean Dolphin says, maybe you should go back to actually practicing law so you don't have to deal with all the keyboard warriors and wannabes. But seriously, go back. No. Why go practice law? Oh God. I can do so much more here than handling petty drug cases in the middle of nowhere, Minnesota. Patrick Allen says, you are missing your microchip from the jab. Get the jab. Internet will work. Eric the Red says, can you call the cyber police to arrest your imaginary HOA for your horrible internet service? Yes. Eric the Red, Calvin Pontius says, Nick gets bad sushi one time. Mark Ridge's voice. I guess it's time to go back into the microwave Japan. Yes. Very true. Very true. I really like sushi. I would love, there's just not anywhere close to me. That closest place is 45 minutes away. Otherwise I'd get more because I could eat it. I could eat sushi just fine, except for the fried rolls would be a terrible thing, but everything else would be great. It's got all of the hallmarks of things I can eat that don't have the rancid taste. Ricky L. Hendrick says, can one be a seditious patriot? Let's be honest. Treason is only treason if you lose, right? Otherwise, it's patriotism. That's what the founders taught us. If the founders lost against the British, it was all treason all day. I mean, that's what they did. Uriah Wright says, at least Alex Jones has proven to be right more times than what the mainstream media provide. JH says, why not pop that shirt off and relax? Patrick Allen says, Navy guy equals part of an agenda. Sam Walther says, LNC is DDoSing your network. That means war. Just kidding. Inquiry, though. Who the fuck was heavily armed? I saw grannies being escorted into open doors. This chode. Yeah. No. Yes. Not applicable says, probably a 10-year FBI project to whip up this LARP. 200-watt studio says, Turbo Lard reminds me of John Goodman in Arachnophobia hunting spiders. Oh, that's a good movie. I love Arachnophobia. Kevin Hunts says, that cat filter lawyer painting is one of my favorite YouTube funny vids. You are the opposite of that guy. Really good at YouTube. Hail, Nick. Hey, thanks, Kevin. Very much appreciated. The Squid says, on a scale of Casey Anthony to Subway Jared, how much do you love kids? Oh, somewhere in the middle of those two. Like, I like them enough to not murder them. I don't like them enough to try and sleep with them. There you go. That's the somewhere between those two. Holy shit. Cynthia says, your crew's lack of insightfulness for how a drunk white guy might have said the N-word and made a bar fight is your problem. Here to troll. Also, you're cute. A right-wing Bill Maher. Thank you, Cynthia. Very much appreciated. But I would suggest that a drunk white guy is no more prone to saying the N-word than anybody else. And I think the proneness to saying the N-word because he's drunk and white is actually a gross misstatement of probability. Without any evidence that this guy has ever said that word in his entire life, no reputation for racism or anything like that. I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying it. Look, people can watch me visibly get drunk all the time, and I'm a white guy, and I don't drop the N-word ever. So I don't know what to tell you. Don't know what to tell you. Not applicable says, probably a 10-year FBI project to whip up this LARP. Oh, I read that. Octavio Perez says, Stuart Rhodes, a.k.a. Glowing Snake. Sheila Alien says, Alex Jones got caught looking at T-girl porn on his own live stream when he showed his iPad to the camera. The tab was open. Bastion of masculinity. Look, listen, let me explain to this. Transdimensional globalist trying to put that shit on my iPad, but I'm so secure in my manhood that I can look at any kind of porn and know that I'll be fine at the end of the day. Teresa Hoisington, your theory on the allergy meds interfering with my taste and smell would be a potential that I would look into, except I have not been taking them for the past like 4 months. So don't think it's that, but that is an appreciated and considered comment. It would normally apply, except I've been really bad at taking them for literally like 4 months. I haven't taken a single pill. Base Crocodile says, I wish it was a real revolt. Firing squad Congress. Not applicable says, Alex Jones gave lots of platform and credibility to January 6 weirdos in his nature. Before Trump legitimized him, he was an intentional punching bag caricature for the left. Cledge Fenrir says, your stream started out as hazy. Then once it clears up, you force us to deal with Chris Hazy. Not applicable says, Alex Jones also basically founded the 9/11 truther movement on the right, which probably got us Obama from the loss of goodwill that came from that. Horrible. 200 Watt Studio says, isn't the Fifth Amendment meant to protect you from anything you say being used against you by bad actors? Didn't this F up Flynn trap him with his words? Yes. Yes. Zen Master Me, thank you for the donation. Not applicable says, been clubbed with AJ my entire life as a conservative. You've got a beef with him, man. He also says, Alex Jones said he wanted a civil war during Obama on TV. Ben Samuel says, MSNBC is basically a left-wing mirror of Alex Jones. Not applicable says, not saying he really wanted it, but he was LARPing too. Jay Brown says, you can't tell me Chris wasn't bullied in high school. Well, no one would believe that. Question mark says, imagine rhetorically yelling at a literal paid actor reading CIA talking points off of a teleprompter. Hafty Sazard says, CDN trucker convoy to Ottawa against vax mandates raises $5 million in 11 days, gets labeled as far-right terrorist by government and government media, and the Prime Minister flees capital for a surprise vacation. Freak Mac says they are going to try and disqualify a bunch of GOP members so they can never again hold office. Yep. Ryan Clark says, I sent you a Twitter DM with a link from Alex Jones' show from his Rumble channel. Twitter. What is this? Oh, this is 35 minutes. Okay, so this is just Alex's show. I wanted to see him before Congress. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see Alex Jones before Congress. But I'll review it, Ryan. Thank you. Thank you. Here we go. The Good Tom King says, thank you, Nick, for calling out the bullshit. JL says, can you answer a question from Congress with a truthful statement that is irrelevant, or will it be contempt? Example, were you there on X day? Reply, I did fart in an airplane once. And not recommended. Just keep it straight, man. Just keep it straight. Just plead your fifth or answer the question truthfully. That should be the extent of it. Josh says, Nick at the hearing. Hold on, Congressman. I've got some super chats. Chat wants to know if you think Chandler ate his parents. Rael says, as Alex. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Government could suck my big fat Jimmy Dean. Tamara Holloway says, whole house sick with coof. My son tested positive. Oh, sucks. Sorry, Tamara. It's not fun, but once it's over, it's not that bad when it's actually over. Basic Female says, Stuart Rhodes has long been suspected of being an informant because he and members got charged. Rhodes always gets off, but members he recruits go to prison. My man's prison wife says, a lady from Milwaukee enjoyed you white boys today. That's true. That's true. Not applicable says, did you know Starlink killed Berserk artist Ken Miura? No, I had no idea. Tara Rayner says, Dems, Eastman plotted in emails an overthrow of the government currently led by Trump. Emails, the reading of the Constitution lays out roadmap to pause counting of electors. One of two. Doug, wait. And then she says, Democrats, see, the Constitution is a smoking gun. Me, Pelosi's emails, texts, and calls show a more effective plan. Doug Murray says 81 million votes. I can't read the rest of that. Let me just say, I'll say it again for YouTube, because YouTube really, really cares about this. Even though now it doesn't, like, it can't matter anymore, but YouTube really cares about this. The election of President Joe Biden occurred lawfully when the electoral votes were read. We have a system that is laid out in the Constitution that uses the electoral votes in the U.S. They were read before Congress according to the Constitution, and then that was that. The transition of power occurred peacefully, despite what anybody wants you to believe on the narrative. It did. Trump did not resist and try and stay in office, as many people in the media said he would. None of that actually ended up occurring. It just happened the way it always happens. So that's it. I would love to talk in more finer points about that, because I think there's a lot of real questions we could ask and that would be useful to discuss going into 2022 and 2024. But YouTube won't let us talk about it. So we just, that's all we can say. That's all we can say, unfortunately. Chris Cola, welcome to Paralegal Status. Tara Rain, read that one. Luke Thompson says, check out Hamilton Lincoln Law Institute. They do a lot of work fighting illegal class action settlements, like the recent Equifax one. New dislike button says, Nick, I usually work out around 3 hours a day, but I lapsed out today. I failed. Still got my 200 push-ups and sit-ups in those. Send motivation for tomorrow. Holy shit, 3 hours a day? Matthew Harder, I'm not going to just steal Flash Gets' content. No, people can go watch it. I certainly don't like playing stuff of people I like on my show. I want the people to go. I want them to get all the clicks they can possibly muster. New dislike button. Man, you're working out 3 hours a day. How you should spare some motivation for everybody else. Question mark says, sometimes I just text myself insane conspiracy theories and threats to the government. Those are just between me and the intelligence agencies. Zeno the Stoic. Welcome to Paralegal. Del Friggin Tree says, Nick is pretending to be scared of YouTube as always. Dude, I have gotten strikes for election claims when I didn't even make election claims. That's the one they care about, that and COVID. That's it. It's fucking insane. They don't let us even discuss things. It's stupid. HP says, the other day I learned that cat in French is pronounced chat, and immediately I thought of your painting. Oh, there you go. Rael says, FBI has the phones. They can play Diablo Immortal. Yes, correct. Nicole Silvensky says, if people don't understand what you're saying about how the NSA works, they probably aren't fully appreciating the danger of vaccine passports and labeling parents domestic terrorists. If you'd care to expound. No, not right now. Ryoji Mata says, the rap sheet for his family members have a bit of length to them as well. Andrew Clark says, are they linking to Kyle so they can riot after? Oh, they're going to make a big deal about this. If Theodore Edgecombe goes to prison, there's going to be all sorts of speeches. Like I said, B. Ivory Lamar's post-conviction interviews will be lit. They will be lit. They'll be interesting to watch. Mike Sullivan says, in light of Blake's current situation, at least his finger game is strong. William Barnes says it's because they keep using deadly force. Hitman 132I says, have you considered using SDWAN failover and bandwidth aggregation with Starlink there? Yes. Stephen Robertson says, Breonna Taylor's boyfriend wasn't charged for shooting the cop. Correct. Correct. Braden Brown says, a little off topic, and I know it will never happen, but can you imagine if the Southern District of New York prosecuted Trump and Trump testified in Trump voice? I asked the questions here, Letitia. Yeah, I can imagine the Southern District of New York prosecuting Trump. I think they're trying desperately to do that. I think they really are trying to get that done. It's a small girl, says tactless thought I had the other day when the wife was testifying about taking the deceased wallet. I was hoping you'd break out into a Ridge Wallet promo. Womp womp. Thanks for all. Well, Ridge Wallet has not currently reached out for a sponsorship this year. So waiting to see if they will. Maybe I should tag them. I don't know. I don't usually chase down advertisers though. CGoody564 says, if I didn't know better, I'd say your editor was Lamar's editor. Damn. I'm dumb, but I ain't that dumb, says the Lamar firm is in the community, of the community, and for the community. Let's see.
But the people are retarded.
Kiernan says, I'm from Hawaii. We have a small black population. Most are military. The most incarcerated are Micronesians. A lot of them adopted modern black rap hip hop culture and the pitfalls that go with that. Shit. Where are we? Trident Titan says, these people are evil. JC Adult 101 says, any plans to have a civil rights lawyer on? He just filed another federal lawsuit against police in a false arrest case. I don't have specific plans to have him on, but I'm not like opposed to it. Oh, fuck. I still have the screen share up. So you get the echo. You get an echo and you get an echo. Larry Herzog Jr. says sushi and bologna are both great. Teresa Hoisington says Edgecombe seemed to think the daddy-daughter date night is a magic unicorn acquittal ticket. If he said it one more time, I was going for the Xanax. Look, they're trying to show, and they do this all the time, how great the defendant actually was, right? Think about, well, they were the deceased in the other trials, but think about Anthony Huber, Gage Grosskreutz. They're heroes. They're heroes to their families. They're wonderful people. Even they're terrible. S. Asp says, here's money for your wasabi fund. Cree Rose says, COVID will make you eat the bugs and love it. Frozen Toy says, with your internet problems, you have to check. Have you checked to make sure your nose is not blocking the Wi-Fi? Yes, I am on a hard line. Wi-Fi, internet, and streaming just does not seem to do well on computers for me. It does okay on phones and tablets. Their Wi-Fi seems to do okay, but for computers, it doesn't, in my experience. So I wire in. Angry Bellsprout says, kind of bummed. I'm close to 40 and no kids. 20s anxiety was too bad to talk to girls. 30s, I met dumpster fires my age. Feel creepy talking to early mid-20s. How long can I talk to girls without empty cartons before I get too weird? I don't know, brother, but I'm sure you can find a girl in her mid to late 20s who will happily have some babies. I'm guessing you can do it. You can do it. Logan F says, I think you may have a frayed Cat 5 cable. You'd also try turning it off and back on again. Logan, F you. 200 Watt Studio says, Nick, the rancid taste thing is an illusion. Just eat the food no matter what your buds are telling you. It's in your heart. You know it's delicious. Donnie Z says, defense was hoping for Kool-Aid Man to burst through the wall and rescue Theo before Cross could begin. JK Wynn says, oh gosh, I missed this one. Question mark says, Guy, please, the very agency tasked with whistleblower rights has been compromised. What exactly do you think happens to whistleblowers now? Retribution, maybe? I already addressed your whistleblower super chats. JK Wynn says, is it me or is it short bus AF to respond after I say that's not the point I'm getting at? Is I agree with you in my version of what you said, and you won't let me explain. It's like talking to a wall, and walks away. Wait, what? Okay, so JK Wynn says, is it me or is it short bus as fuck to respond after I say that's not the point I'm getting at? Is I agree with you in my version of what you said, and you won't let me explain. It's like talking to a wall and walk away. I don't know what personal vendetta I'm supposed to fulfill with this one. But yes, you got it. I got it. Yes, that short bus AF. Whoever needs to hear that. Okay. Geno's Coon says, my grandfather passed away last week, 81 years old general who spent his retirement volunteering at the Red Cross. Now and forever my hero. Rest in peace. And rest in peace indeed. Cosmically Triggered says, if there's a sourness / acidity to the bad oil taste, check out Miracle Berries. They make acidity taste sweet. Might counter reverse what happened. Mandy Karavichus says, your taste buds cannot possibly be worse than the Jack Murphy Starfish liquors. Have some faith, Nick. Gross. Wolf Vermillion says, Boston Hospital News. Oh, hey, I don't need this. I don't need these in anymore. I'm not doing any more video clips. JC Adult 101 says, try an air fryer for the taste bud issue. Wolf Vermillion says, hospital removes dying father of 2, 31 from top heart transplant list because he's not vaccinated. B. Ivory Law says, thank you for the free press. I will now sue you. I'm pretty sure, B. Ivory Lamar, if you were to sue me, you would end up in jail somehow through your own actions. Philip Booty says, Nick, if this taste bud thing stays, try some taste bud changing pills and see if that does something. If it works, yay. If it doesn't, it's only $15. 200 Watt Studio says, looks like that lawyer ad has Joe's driver in it. Cynthia says, just go to sleep, frat boy. You have 5 kids. Yes, I do. And they're all sleeping wonderfully right now. But frat boy never was. Didn't fit in with that crowd. Unlucky Irish, welcome to paralegal status. Very happy to have you. And that is the end of the show. That is the end of the show. Hope you guys had a fun time tonight. I didn't, but that's okay. Just in a bad fucking mood. And the internet made me in a worse mood. And I just want to eat something fried and enjoy it. All right. I will catch you tomorrow morning for the conclusion, probably, of the trial of Theodore Edgecombe. I think we're going to get a guilty verdict by the end of the day. I'm sure some other people out there think that we will not. And, well, we'll see. We'll see. But I want that over if hopefully the trial is over tomorrow. So that way I can go back to doing some Twitch nights and stuff like that, because I won't have the early morning. All right, guys, I will catch you later. Hope you have a good night. Peace. Peace.
Thank you, Swing.
Oh, he drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along. With his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight, we'll hear some law-splaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes madder, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed, make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an ardbeg, a bow, more of that broad. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter, as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed, to make the law what we have now. Oh, the guests are all plentiful, from Dante to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. pour out an Ardbeg, a Balmore, a Loughborough. Spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the T-post on Twitter as we hear Lost Planning tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the world better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have